Chapter 1190. He put away the combat heavenly palace and walked out of the dilapidated ancient building. The moment Fang Ping walked out, Heavenly King Zhen's eyes lit up. He appeared in front of Fang Ping in an instant and slammed his palm toward Fang Ping's chest. Fang Ping subconsciously raised his hand to block. Bang! Fang Ping took dozens of steps back. He could not help but curse. "Old man, what are you doing?" The subduing Heavenly King didn't care what he said and looked at him with a burning gaze. After a long time, his eyebrows twitched. "You've improved again? Even the Ren Huang Dao couldn't be that fast, could it? How did you do it?" The strength of your golden body gives this old man the feeling that it's even stronger than ordinary heavenly kings. Fang Ping said matter-of-factly, "I'm a 9th refinement golden body, so of course I'm stronger than them." Even if he did not improve this time, his basic vitality was more than 5 million calories. Basic qi and blood actually represented the strength of the golden body. The stronger the golden body, the more qi and blood it could contain. This was inevitable. Therefore, before this, Fang Ping's physique was already stronger than the average heavenly king. Wasn't Heavenly King Zhen talking nonsense? The subduing Heavenly King looked at him and did not speak for a long time. Something was wrong. There was something wrong with this fellow. Before this, the feeling that Fang Ping gave him was not as strong as it was now. Fang Ping concealed his aura. This was not a problem. As a top-notch expert, Heavenly King Zhen didn't need to rely on his aura to determine anything. He took a quick glance and could sense whether it was strong or not. Elder Zhang rubbed his chin and asked curiously, "What did you do this time?" "Nothing much." Fang Ping swept his gaze around, looked for a while, and asked curiously, "Where are the God-crafting envoy and the rest?" "Let's go." Zhang Tao shook his head and said, "Not really. These people have their own goals. They won't stay here and wait for us. They have their own things to do. Now, they should go and do their own things." Since the Demon Emperor and the Forging God Envoy had entered, they naturally had a purpose. Fang Ping did not care about them. Instead, he said sympathetically, "The water buffalo was taken away?" "Taken away." Old Zhang laughed. "The God Creation Envoy is just a clone. It usually consumes energy to use it. Attaching it to Li Wuji can reduce some of the energy consumption. The water buffalo won't be tortured to death, right?" Fang Ping seriously suspected that if the water buffalo was possessed by the God Creation Envoy, would it purposely run towards the heavenly kings? "I'm fine." Heavenly King Zhen did not think it was a big deal. He looked at Fang Ping again. "Kid, don't change the topic. Did you improve again?" Fang Ping chuckled. "Of course I've improved a little. I'm a genius, after all. Of course my improvement isn't slow." Old Zhang also glanced at him and asked, "What is your current strength?" "Sage." "Sort of." Fang Ping made a rough estimation. If his outburst had reached 4 million calories and above, he would be considered a saint, of course. When he broke 6, he would be a heavenly king. As for breaking 6, actually it did not matter if Fang Ping's strength did not improve, as long as he could master his own strength on a deeper level. It could be said that he had reached his limit. Breaking 6 was only a matter of time. Some of the old-timers had reached their limit and were unable to advance any further. Their control over their power continued to grow, and if things went on like this, some of the peak sages would have the battle prowess of a heavenly king. The length of a Tao path could only be considered a realm. As for the amount of explosive power, that was the true battle prowess. Whether one possessed the battle prowess of the current stage would vary from person to person. Some powerhouses who had just attained Emperor Realm might not even be as strong as near Emperor Realm powerhouses. The 3 of them didn't stay where they were. Escaping into the void, Zhang Tao began to explain the situation of Spirit Emperor Dojo to Fang Ping. After listening for a while, Fong Ping asked curiously, "You received benefits from Spirit Emperor?" "That's right. Your source world has expanded a lot." "That's right." Fong Ping looked puzzled. He looked at him again and said, "How much has your source world expanded to? I mean, the diameter." Old Zhang had received benefits from Spirit Emperor, yet his source world did not expand to more than 100 meters. More than 100 meters. But I compressed it. Why? Compression? Fong Ping frowned slightly. "Why did you compress it?" Old Zhang said matter-of-factly. "Why does the source world need to be so big? A big source world consumes too much origin chi. Do you know that a source world with a diameter of 100 meters consumes more origin chi every day than our birth? Not only that, if the source world is too big, it's easy for problems to arise. It's not stable enough. If it's compressed, it'll be more stable." Fong Ping looked at him in surprise, then at Heavenly King Zhen. After a while, he said, "So there are actually people whose source worlds reached more than 100 meters, but they compressed it themselves." "I think so." Old Zhang's answer was insincere. Heavenly King Zhen glanced at him and said lightly, "That's right. Under normal circumstances, they would choose to compress it. Firstly, the supply of origin chi is insufficient. Secondly, if it's too big, it'll crack easily." Fong Ping frowned again. He looked at old Zhang and said, "Your source world has expanded to more than 100 meters. Are there any other changes?" "What changes?" Old Zhang did not quite understand. What other changes could there be? Fong Ping fell into deep thought. That was not right. When the source world expanded to 100 meters, he had clearly covered his Tao. Why did old Zhang not? If there was, old Zhang would probably have discovered this problem. 100 meters was very difficult. However, some of the old antiques might not have this opportunity. They had not improved for many years and consolidated their source world. Was there no hope? But why did it seem like no one had taken this path of unification? Am I special? That's not right either. Fang Mao also took this path. Then what's the reason? Why didn't old Zhang have this kind of change? Fang Ping thought hard. Was there any difference between him and Fang Mao and the others? Fang Ping was a little special. He did not open up his Tao at all. But he did it himself. Then, why would there be a different situation? If I'm talking about being special, it's probably because my source world has some origin soil. Fang Mao has it too. However, some powerhouses actually have origin soil too. Could it be that those who have origin soil did not open up 100 meters of the world, and those who don't have origin soil did not have any effect even if they did? That's why this situation is happening now. Fang Ping guessed in his heart. Some people had origin soil, but not many. This kind of thing was considered chicken ribs, but it was very rare. After all, even King Kuan only had that little. It could be said that the divine sect had searched the 3 realms for this little bit of origin soil. There were some powerhouses, but they were very, very few. And this very small group of people might not have the opportunity to open up their source world to more than 100 meters. Fang Ping did it because of the saint token, old Zhang because of Spirit Emperor's help, and Fang Mao because of tens of thousands of years of accumulation. In that case, perhaps old Zhang did not succeed because he lacked origin soil. Fang Ping did not know if it was right, but at this moment, he felt that the only difference between him and old Zhang was the origin soil. He was thinking about something, but Zhang Tao was too lazy to care about him. Soon he said, "This time, we have a few purposes here. First, get the 9 Emperor seals. Second, collect those saint tokens and heavenly king seals, and kill some powerhouses who are extremely hostile to humans. Third, see if we can rope in another group of people to form an alliance with humans. Fourth, speaking of this, Zhang Tao said in a low voice, "See if we can revive a heavenly king." What? Fang Ping was surprised. Zhang Tao explained, "In the depths of the Spirit Emperor Dojo, there is a space battlefield. Obviously, this was left behind after a powerhouse died. Until now, it has not been revived, and it can withstand the battle of many heavenly king powerhouses. I'm afraid it is also a heavenly king powerhouse. Based on previous experience, we may need to find the core of this space battlefield, which is also where the real source world is, and we may revive this powerhouse. A heavenly king. If we take the initiative and revive him, if he is an enemy, we can kill him directly. If he is a friend, we can choose to cooperate." Fang Ping could not help but look at the Sky Garrison King and said, "Senior, who is the powerhouse here?" There were only a few heavenly king powerhouses. Who could the heavenly king who died in ancient times be? Would the Sky Garrison King not know? There was a space battlefield here, and it was very powerful. Obviously, the person who died back then would not be too weak. The space battlefield, where Hongyu was previously, was also very powerful, but it did not seem to be able to withstand the battle of heavenly kings, which meant that even Hongyu was not as strong as the other party. Such a heavenly king could not be the strongest after breaking 8, right? The Sky Garrison King shook his head and said, "The person is dead, and the origin has not been found. The space battlefield is also very quiet. It is difficult for me to determine who it is. Unless we find the core origin, I may be able to identify who it is." Senior, you know a little about the powerhouse from ancient times, right? Don't you have any guesses? Previously, I thought it was Feng, the Sky Garrison King said casually. I was thinking whose origin is so strong. Feng might be possible. But after thinking about it, it doesn't seem right. Feng seemed to have run away a long time ago. Could it be that he was killed by mistake? Now that Feng has appeared, naturally it is not Feng. Thinking of this, the Sky Garrison King said again, "There is an origin world and a space battlefield, so it should not be a beginner powerhouse, but a powerhouse from the 3 realms. The owner of this space battlefield is most likely at Breaking 7, Breaking 8. Breaking 8 is not so easy to kill. A heavenly king with Breaking 7 strength." The Sky Garrison King seemed to be reminiscing and said after some consideration, "Back then, there were not many people with Breaking 7 strength. Even King Qian seemed to be slightly lacking, and the Extreme Path bloodline only had Feng 7. The 9 sovereigns." The Sky Garrison King said in a low voice, "There are many powerhouses under the 9 sovereigns, some with heavenly king strength. But as for Breaking 7, I don't think there is anyone who broke through secretly, but the chances are not high because there is no need." Thinking of this, the Sky Garrison King could not help but say, "Could it be the Weapon Master?" Among the 3 emissaries, the Palm Seal emissary was probably completely dead. The Sea Garrison emissary was still alive and active, the strongest weapon master of the 3 back. Then could it be him? Old Zhang said with a strange expression, "Aren't you the weapon master's disciple? Li Yu? Don't you know your master's situation? Get lost." The Sky Garrison King scolded, "You are Li Yu. Your whole family is Li Yu. Is Li Yu stronger than me? Back then, Li Yu only had the strength of a saint. How could he have the combat strength of a heavenly king?" Weapon Master. Fang Ping could not be bothered with the 2 old fellows' quarrel. He frowned and said, "What was the Weapon Master's attitude towards humans back then? Will he kill humans once he revives?" That fellow. The Sky Garrison King was still very familiar with the Weapon Master. He said after some consideration, "This fellow actually left the core of the heavenly realm a long time ago. When the heavenly court established the 8 kings, he was considered to be living in seclusion. He did not participate in the things that happened after that. When the heavenly realm war broke out, I did not see him then, but many people died that day. The sky fell, and the earth split. I did not notice if he was involved or if he died. The situation was too chaotic at that time. He really did not see him, but he guessed that he might have died. This was because the weapon master was more traditional, similar to those generals who were loyal to the emperor. Although the heavenly court reduced his military power, at a critical moment, when the heavenly court was in trouble, that fellow was very likely to participate. If that was the case, the probability of him dying in battle was higher. The Sky Garrison King said again, "Whether it is or not, we will know once we find the origin core. If it is a weapon master, I should be able to recognize him. He and I have a good relationship. He might be of help to the humans." If the Sky Garrison King did not have a good relationship with him, he would not have pretended to be his disciple. Fong Ping nodded. If that was the case, the space battlefield here was very likely to be a weapon master. There were actually not many people who had the ability to break through 7 levels. If they had broken through 8 levels, there were even fewer Origin Dao cultivators. Most of them were beginner martial artists. As for beginner martial artists, even if they died, there would not be a space battlefield left behind. This meant that the probability of this place breaking through 7 levels was higher. Zhang Tao continued, resurrecting the Heavenly King. I'm afraid others are thinking about this too. But these people's main focus is to get the 9 Emperor Seals, so we can put the 9 Emperor Seals aside for now. The other thing is Hongyu. If Hongyu is really the Earthly Emperor's avatar, this fellow's secret is huge. The Earthly Emperor's avatar could deceive the 3 realms for 3,000 years. This was not a simple matter. Hongyu might really know the Earthly Emperor's whereabouts. If the Earthly Emperor is dead, then there's nothing to say. If he's not dead, Hongyu might know where the Earthly Emperor is sleeping. Right now, many people are eyeing the Emperor. Fong Ping frowned. Isn't the Emperor in the Sky Cemetery? Zhang Tao shrugged. Don't ask me. I don't know. He looked at the Sky Garrison King. This old fellow might know about this. The Sky Garrison King said without batting an eyelid. The 9 emperors and 4 emperors might have their remains in the Sky Cemetery, but it doesn't mean that all of them are there. There was not one battlefield back then, but many. The Sky Cemetery can only be said to be the core area of the war, but not all of the battlefields. Fong Ping was about to continue speaking when the Sky Garrison King waved his hand. Don't ask any more. You will know when the time comes. Now that the Sky Dog and the others have gone to the Sky Cemetery, I'm afraid there will be chaos soon. Fong Ping frowned. There are enemies in the Sky Cemetery. Yes, of course, it's hard to say if they are enemies, but there will definitely be powerhouses. The Sky Garrison King was silent for a while, then added, many people participated in the war back then. Not to mention the others. There were many powerhouses from the first martial lineage. These people are very powerful. Their vitality is actually more tenacious than the Origin Path martial artists. The Origin Path martial artists can be resurrected, and so can they. Some beginner martial artists, such as martial artists who have achieved Tao with their bodies, as long as there is some blood and bones left behind, they can be resurrected. Some powerhouses who have achieved Tao through mentality can also be resurrected if there is a wisp of mentality left behind. Beginner martial artists cultivate themselves. They have their own specialties. If their vitality is not tenacious, how can they compete with the powerhouses of the Origin Path? The Sky Dog died in the Sky Cemetery back then. It might have been caused by some of the resurrected people. Why did they want to kill the Sky Dog? The Sky Garrison King was speechless. He said impatiently, "Nonsense! The Sky Cat and the Sky Dog are in cahoots. There is a rumor that when the Sky Cat died, the Great Path collapsed. This Great Path refers to the Origin Path. Back then, that guy from the Cat Palace died because he fought with the powerhouses from the first martial lineage. The first martial lineage was defeated in the battle for Great Path, allowing the rise of the origin path. They have always been unwilling to accept it. Some people targeted the Sky Cat. The Sky Dog and the Sky Cat are in cahoots. If they do not kill the Sky Dog, who should they kill? The Sky Dog had already broken through 8. If such a powerhouse does not die, how can they deal with the Sky Cat? Fong Ping understood. Finally, he asked another question. If the Sky Cat is dead, will the Great Path really collapse? Who knows? It's not dead, is it? The Sky Garrison King said, casually, why don't you try killing it? Maybe it will collapse. During the heavenly realm, the Sky Cat was attacked and was seriously injured. Its great path almost collapsed. It was also at that time that the great path of the heavenly realm roared, causing a great impact. That's why the guy from the Cat Palace later died. And the Sky Cat still has someone to protect it. Why the Sky Cat? How would I know? The Sky Garrison King was afraid of dealing with these people. There were especially many questions. At this moment, he said impatiently, it might be related to the origin universe. The origins of the Sky Cat and the Sky Dog might also be related to this silent world. The one from the Cat Palace might know a little. The 9 sovereigns and 4 emperors might also know a little. The leader of the beginner martial artists might also know a lot. However, I was just a ranger back then. Do you know what a ranger is? According to the saying back then, I was a rogue cultivator. How would I know these things? Didn't your master tell you? As soon as these words came out, the Sky Garrison King suddenly turned to look at Fong Ping. Fong Ping said without batting an eyelid, didn't your master say that you've already surpassed your master? Your master is the leader of the beginner martial artists, right? Old Zhang looked at Fong Ping strangely. Sure, this kid really knew a lot of things. Even Old Devil Li was provoked. Old Devil Li had a master. He did not even know about this. The Sky Garrison King frowned. After a while, he snorted softly. Don't ask what you shouldn't ask. Don't say what you shouldn't say. There are some things that you guys don't know a fart. Yes, I have a master. He is indeed a beginner martial artist, and also the leader of the beginner martial artists. However, beginner martial artists are also in the state of the top 100 contending for hegemony. Let's put it this way. At that time, martial arts had just appeared. Countless geniuses appeared. Each one of them was a lineage. It's not an exaggeration to say that the beginner martial artists contended for hegemony, including the origin Tao that came later. It was also the beginner martial artists. The 9 sovereigns and 4 emperors had all experienced the beginner martial era. They were also considered the descendants of beginner martial artists. Tao was passed down from beginner martial artists. Among us, who doesn't have a beginner martial artist as a teacher? The Sky Garrison King looked slightly sad. In that era, it wasn't just me. Was the 9 sovereigns self-taught? That's not it either. They also had masters and seniors to teach them. Who were these seniors? Beginner martial artists. In that era, the 9 sovereigns and 4 emperors were considered rising stars. Of course, they needed guidance. These people also had beginner martial heritage. Just like this era, it was actually also the intersection point of Paleo martial arts and Neo martial arts. The creation of Neo martial arts did not mean that martial arts came out of nowhere. Fong Ping, Old Man Li, and the others also had martial heritage. Your master is dead. I think so. The Sky Garrison King said lightly, it's been so many years. It's normal for him to die. The situation was chaotic back then. Who knows who was alive and who was dead? Let's not talk about this. The Sky Garrison King changed the topic. Kid, what are you going to do first? Rob. Both of them looked at him with a strange expression. Rob the saint's token. Fong Ping said matter-of-factly, the saint's token is good stuff. While others are robbing the 9 sovereigns' seal, we'll rob the saint's token first. Having said that, Fong Ping chuckled. For example, the heavenly emperor Ping Yu, the evil sect's 3 great protectors, they can all be robbed. The heavenly emperor Ping Yu was not dead. As the master of the 4 Brahmas, his strength had already reached the saint level. On the fake sky grave's side, only 1 saint had died, until now, Luofu Mountain's venerable emperor Qingjing. Fong Ping still despised these heavenly kings. How did they do things? More than 10 heavenly king powerhouses were here, and only 1 saint had died, until now. It was really embarrassing. If I were here, the world would have been turned upside down long ago. If I don't kill dozens of saints and a few heavenly kings, is this considered stirring up trouble? Zhang Tao glanced at him and said quickly, Okay, then let's rob the saint's token first. The Sky Garrison King was tired, a guy who wished for the world to be in chaos. He hoped that he would not cause trouble. Those heavenly kings were not idiots. If Fong Ping really wanted to keep attacking and killing saints, these people would definitely not sit idly by. At the same time, the outside world, the catacombs' heavenly court, a skinny old man walked into the heavenly court, looking like a piece of rotten wood. The heavenly court's treasure hall. At this moment, a few saints were present. The old man entered the door. His voice was hoarse, like a malicious spirit, slightly sharp. Congratulations on the reconstruction of the heavenly court. The sky soared, and the others looked solemn and did not speak. The skinny old man continued, Heavenly dog, and the others entered the sky grave, while the others were trapped in the fake sky grave. If the heavenly court wants to restore its former rule, this is the best time. The governor looked at the old man and said in a low voice, What can I do for you? Can you fight against a heavenly king? The few of them were silent. How can a saint's combat strength fight against a heavenly king? The old man said sharply, What's the biggest difference between a saint and a heavenly king? The amplification of the origin. The governor understood and frowned. You want to kill that cat? Don't forget, we're also on the Tao of origin. If we kill that cat, once the Tao collapses, we'll be at the mercy of others. That's not right. The old man panted. When the Tao collapses, the stronger you are, the more you'll be affected. Without the amplification of a heavenly king, is there a huge gap between a saint and a heavenly king? This is an opportunity to narrow the gap in strength. The ones who benefit are the Chuwu lineage. The governor replied coldly. The old man panted again and said, Not necessarily. The Chuwu lineage has ended, and there are not many who are still alive. We appeared again because we are unwilling. If the Tao collapses, you will only be stronger if you switch to Chuwu lineage. Everyone frowned. The Sky Sword frowned and said, If the cat dies, the Tao might not collapse. Try. That cat has already brought you a lot of trouble. If it really doesn't collapse, killing this cat will not affect you at all. It will only be beneficial, and there will be no disadvantages. The old man panted and said, If it collapses, a golden age will begin. A new Tao will appear. Even if the emperor appears, everyone will have a chance. Now, will there really be a chance? We'll think about it again. The saints looked at each other and did not say anything else. The old man did not mind. He slowly retreated and said, We'll wait for you. Chapter 1191. The old man left. In the throne hall, the sages were silent for a long time. After a long while, the governor said softly, Beginner has appeared. After 30,000 years of fighting, there will be an end today. Mad Blade is still alive. Back then, he killed a sage. How strong do you think he is now? The skinny old man looked like he had 1 foot in the grave, but back then he was a powerhouse of the physique, killing a sage with his body. It was a terrifying thing. This meant that his physical strength was stronger than a sage's origin. It was at least 4 million cal and above. Now, it had been 8,000 years since the heavenly realm shattered. In these 8,000 years, had he become weaker or stronger? Sky Sword's eyes were solemn as he said in a low voice, "Beginner martial artists are very strong. Once they lose their origin, who would be a match for a beginner martial powerhouse? Back then, the 9 sovereigns and 4 emperors might not be able to fight them without their origin. The 9 sovereigns and 4 emperors have disappeared. Are the beginner martial powerhouses all dead?" After saying that, Sky Sword said in a low voice, "Without the origin, with our strength, according to the humans, we only have about 1 million cal of vitality." As soon as he said that, the few of them had strange expressions. Without the origin, they, the sages, actually only had the strength of a desperate state. Around 1 million cal. This was the huge flaw of the origin. When that time came, who would be a match for the beginner martial powerhouses? Of course, other than the first-generation powerhouses, there were not many powerhouses after the beginner martial artists. Those who walked the path of beginner martial artists were already considered top powerhouses if they could reach the peak. However, few did not mean none. For example, Mad Blade, the second generation of the beginner martial artists who had just left, had killed a sage with his body. Without the origin, with a basic vitality of more than 4 million cal, only powerhouses who had broken 7 or 8% of the origin could fight him. However, many of the 3rd and 4th generation of beginner martial artists had already switched to cultivating the origin. Once these people's origin collapsed, their combat power would be greatly reduced. Everyone looked at the governor. Now, the beginner martial artists had come out. The timing was extremely clever. Everyone had left. The powerhouses had all left. In these 8,000 years, the powerhouses of the 3 realms had been hiding. After the Heavenly Hound died, there were still many heavenly kings in the 3 realms. These heavenly kings also walked the origin path. Even if some heavenly kings felt that Ash's death might not affect them, they would not deliberately kill Ash. If someone was really targeting the Ash cat, he might lend a hand. With the death of the old cat, would the great Tao collapse? Even the 9 emperors could not be certain of this. If he was really sure, it wouldn't have been the cat protecting Captain, who had acted alone back then. The sovereigns were also extremely confident and did not think that the death of the cat would affect their great path. It wasn't just the sovereigns. Even the heavenly kings felt the same way. However, the saint-level experts were not at ease. Tianjin continued. Back then, when the gray cat was attacked, it was heavily injured. On that day, the great path was shaken. Back then, I already had the strength of a saint, but the great path was still shaken. As for the heavenly kings, I don't think I've heard the other heavenly kings mention it. Perhaps some of the newly advanced heavenly kings would be affected, but most of the older heavenly kings would not be affected too much, the governor said in a deep voice. The Chu Wu lineage doesn't really hope to destroy the great Tao. However, during the period when the great Tao trembled, it would more or less be affected. At this moment, the power of the source Tao would definitely be affected. At that time, if an expert were to take action, the heavenly kings might not have the battle strength they had before. The increase of more than 3 times might drop a little. This is probably their goal. The heavenly king Great Tao did not collapse, but during the period when the Great Tao trembled, these people might be affected by the increase of their source Tao, causing their battle strength to drop. Once a top expert took action, killing the heavenly kings might be much easier than now. Ching Mo was a little impatient and said, anxiously, If that's the case, what's the point of cooperating? If the Great Tao does not collapse, we might not be able to. Once the Great Tao collapses, our battle strength will instantly drop by more than half. How can we compete for hegemony in the three realms then? This mad saber has ill intentions. If it were up to me, I'd kill him directly to prevent him from becoming a disaster. The governor raised his hand gently and stopped her. He said softly, since the Chu-Wu lineage has come out, Mad Saber won't be the only one. Attacking Mad Saber now will only provoke a great enemy for us. After saying that, the governor said in a deep voice, "It's not like they've wanted to kill the cat for a day or two. Now that the cat is helping the humans, this is an opportunity. Inciting conflict between the Chu-Wu lineage and the humans, making them fight each other is more in line with our interests." Qing Mo frowned and said, "What if the cat is really killed?" The governor glanced at her. Qing Mo had only achieved Tao for a short time, so there were some things she was not clear about. At this moment, the governor looked at Sky Sword. Sky Sword frowned slightly and thought for a moment before saying, "Actually, there's another theory. The cat is closely related to the source. If the cat is killed, the source universe might be in turmoil. During this period, it might be an opportunity." "What?" Qing Mo was puzzled. Sky Sword said, "These are the two possibilities that the sovereigns mentioned. First, if the cat is killed, many people's great Tao will collapse. Second, if the cat is dead, it might affect the balance of the source. It's extremely difficult for us to open a path now. If the cat is dead, the source will loosen. Maybe we can open a path quickly. It's not a dream to travel thousands of meters a day." This Qing Mo frowned. Sky Sword said in a deep voice, "It's not nonsense. Back then, when that person from the Cat Palace fought with the Chu-Wu leader, why didn't any of the 9 sovereigns and 4 emperors show up? Because when the cat was attacked, the Great Tao trembled. Someone really succeeded in opening a path quickly. Not to mention others, King Kuan definitely gained something. He opened a path thousands of meters a day. This was later spread. So the 9 sovereigns and 4 emperors are actually hesitating. To kill or not to kill? If we kill, the lower-level martial artists might have their Tao severed. But if we kill, maybe the strong ones will become stronger." Qing Mo could not help but ask, "What exactly is the cat?" "Legend has it," Sky Sword exhaled and said, "Legend has it that the cat was brought back to the heavenly realm by the one who opened the source. As for the specifics, it's too long ago. It's something that happened 30,000 years ago. At that time, most of us sages were not even born, so we don't know much. Some heavenly kings might know something, but no one said it. It's a taboo. Now, there are even fewer people who know. The cat should be related to that person. The one from the Cat Palace might be that person's direct disciple, and he's here to protect the cat." At the mention of that person, everyone's expression changed. That was a taboo, an existence who opened a great Tao. But after that person opened a great Tao, he quickly disappeared. The battle for great Tao after that was the home ground of the 9 sovereigns and 4 emperors. As for where that person went, whether he was alive or dead, no one knew. But as the founder, the terminator of an era, no one could ignore his existence. Where did he go? After disappearing for 30,000 years, was he still alive? If he was alive, what did he do in these 30,000 years? Was the cat brought out by that person? Where did he bring it out? The source universe? Or was it just a cat that that person raised himself? No one knew. Qing Mo, the future sage, knew very little about that period. At this moment, he was getting more and more confused. Then is it good or bad to kill the cat? I don't know. Sky Sword was also very complicated. It's because I don't know that I'm confused. Killing the cat for beginner martial artists, can't have a worse result, so they must kill it. And we don't know if the result is good or bad. If it's bad, we will instantly fall to the true God level. If it's good, maybe we can become a heavenly king in a day. So, even the Source Tao has a vague attitude on whether to kill the cat or not. Among the 9 sovereigns, Spirit's sovereign advocated not to kill it. It's hard to say what the others think. The governor continued, some of the experts who are confident that their great Tao will not be affected actually support killing the cat. As soon as this was said, Qing Mo's expression changed. So, the weak don't agree, but the strong support? The governor said in a low voice, that's right. At least most of the experts agree. Otherwise, the cat wouldn't be hiding in various places and sleeping. In the past, there were countless experts in the cat palace. When it appeared, all sides came to help. But who doesn't know that most of them are emperors and there are very few sages? Why? Because when the great Tao collapses, true gods and emperors are most likely to be affected. On the other hand, sages and above are probably not affected too much. So, at that time, some emperors took the initiative to form an alliance, saying that it was because of the pressure from the cat. Is it true? The governor was also an ancient sage. At this moment, he revealed the truth of the cat's call in the past. When the heavenly bell appeared, 100 emperors gathered. Why not 100 sages? Were those venerable sovereigns fools? Why did they insist on being slaves to the cat? No, because they knew that if the cat died, they would be greatly affected. Those below the true God level are insignificant. True God warriors can't cause much pressure to sages and heavenly kings. But there is no difference between emperors and sages. So when 100 emperors gather, even heavenly kings don't dare to offend them. Sky Sword nodded. Yes. Besides, those heavenly kings and sages all had venerable sovereigns under their command. Even if these people want the cat to die, they won't mention it. Otherwise, those venerable sovereigns and true gods will definitely rebel. Qing Mo finally understood everything. So that was it. The low-level warriors didn't know. The top-level warriors hoped the cat would die, but the middle-level warriors didn't. So the venerable sovereigns banded together, and 100 emperors ran amok. As for the 9 sovereigns and 4 emperors, the cat's death didn't affect them much, so they all chose to be neutral. Qing Mo said again, if the beginner warriors kill the cat, it won't affect those strong warriors. Is it necessary? Sky Sword smiled. I said it's not certain. Since it's not certain, it's good for them. Why don't they choose it? And if it really affects the low-level warriors, you have to understand that the strong are the strong, and the foundation is the foundation. If the weak can't cultivate the origin great path, then the inheritance will be broken. Without the inheritance of the origin, as some of the top-level warriors grow old and die, what will the other warriors cultivate? Of course, it's the beginner path. This is the fight for the great path. If the root of your origin is broken, your origin will become a thing of the past sooner or later. Qing Mo frowned. If that's the case, why will the strong warriors sit back and watch? Sky Sword didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He said, Palace Master Qing Mo. At that time, the top-level warriors were all very young and had a long life. They were confident that even if the inheritance was broken for a while, they could quickly continue it. The 9 sovereigns and 4 emperors are still around. Can't such strong warriors open up a way to continue the great path? Qing Mo completely understood now. At this moment, he looked at the crowd. What were their opinions? Were they really going to kill the cat? The origin lineage was very conflicted about killing the cat. Because of uncertainty, the governor was silent for a while and said slowly, we won't participate. Most of the origin lineage has this attitude towards this matter. We won't participate, we won't protect, and we won't attack. Moreover, there are many strong warriors behind the cat. The Chu Wu lineage hopes that we can hold back some of the human race's strong warriors, including Tian Mu and the other sages, as well as the Spirit Emperor lineage and the Beast Emperor lineage. Even if they come out now, they shouldn't be strong enough. In addition, they are afraid of the other sages, so they hope that we can hold back some people and take this opportunity to kill the cat. At this moment, Hayu suddenly said, "Governor, you've made a decision." The governor didn't say anything. Discussing the ash cat without the slightest scruple was actually a decision. Tell the cat that someone wants to kill you, and it's not us. Sit back and watch the tigers fight. But they might hold back some of the strong warriors who came to help. For example, Kai Dai, Cosmic Dragon, and the others. But tell the cat in advance that you are in danger. This way, if the humans are prepared, an unexpected battle may break out. Let both sides be prepared, and not let the cat be ambushed. Previously, when Mad Blade mentioned the cat, it was only that cat. He did not say its name, but they named it without restraint. Even if Mad Blade mentioned its name, the cat might not be able to sense it because the other party was a beginner martial artist. But the governor and the other powerhouses discussed it again and again, and the probability of the cat sensing it was very high. Everyone did not know much about the cat's ability, but they had always felt that the cat had the ability to predict. At least, if there was hostility toward the cat might sense it. Seeing that the governor was silent, everyone roughly knew what he meant. However, Sky Sword still said, "If Mad Blade dares to come, I'm afraid he has full confidence. Even if we don't make a move, they might make a move. Then let him be." The governor did not care too much. This had nothing to do with him. Very quickly, the viceroy changed the topic. "Let's not talk about this anymore. Fang Ping and the others have entered the fake skies cemetery. The human forces are shrinking now. It's time for us to take action. Subduing the beyond heaven, subduing the overseas immortal islands, and recreating the glory of the heavenly court of the three realms. This is what we should do. What about the humans? We'll talk about it after they make their move. The God-crafting envoy is still here. That's good too. Let these beginner martial artists test it out. Human kings and martial kings are not good people either. At that time, a great battle will definitely break out. Sitting back and watching them kill each other is more in line with our interests." Everyone nodded. Perhaps this was the best choice. But once the heavenly king appears, someone whispered that they were not the heavenly king. Once the heavenly king appeared, what would they do? Sages were strong, but they were no match for a heavenly king. Rebuilding the heavenly court was a huge problem. From the looks of it, the heavenly kings had already left the mountain, and a group of heavenly kings might return very soon. How should they deal with them, then? The governor said solemnly, "First, Tao corroboration, heavenly king. After subduing the skies beyond heaven and the overseas immortal islands, the heavenly court's position will be stable. There will definitely be some feedback, such as the great Tao becoming clearer. We still have a chance. Secondly, we are not without experts. Even if the heavenly king returns, we will still be an overlord. Third, a combined attack. Back then, the most famous thing in the heavenly court was not the royal cultivation technique, but the 36-star formation. Since the heavenly sword is here, then during this period of time, it might be of great help to us to cultivate. With the 9 saints working together, it might not be difficult for us to fight against a few heavenly kings." Sky Sword nodded his head and said, "That's feasible." Back then, Tian Kuei led the 36 saints and sparred with the 8 kings a few times. Amongst the 8 kings, 5 of the heavenly kings joined hands and were defeated by us in the end. Unfortunately, the 36 saints have now split up. He thought back to the glory of the past. The 5 heavenly kings had been defeated by them. Back then, Tian Kuei was not convinced that King Kuan had taken over his position as one of the 8 kings, so he did not stop looking for trouble. Although the 8 kings were strong against 36 saints, no, Tian Kuei was even a heavenly king. The 5 kings were defeated. This was a glorious achievement that the 36 saints would remember for the rest of their lives. Unfortunately, many of them had died, and the others had also gone their separate ways. It was difficult to gather the 36 saints of the past. Sky Sword said, "In some broken worlds, there are still divine armies of the heavenly court, Sky Speed, and the others have already gone to receive them. Once they return, we will practice the great formation of the past. These people can also fight experts." Everyone discussed for a while and quickly dispersed. As for the reply to the Chu Wu lineage, it was not to reply. Do whatever you want. At the same time, Demonic City. The cat sighed. Here it comes again. Here it comes again. This cat sleeps and eats, and you people keep thinking about me. How annoying. Whipping the sleeping Jiao away with its tail, the cat said unhappily, "Puppy, you've become decadent after reaching the peak. Hurry up and cultivate. Go fight. Aren't there many experts in the Forbidden Sea? Go fight. If I stay in the human world any longer, this cat will eat dog meat." The Jiao looked innocent. Did this cat get agitated again? That stupid bull, boundless force, ran away. It was lonely now and was beaten by a cat while sleeping. How could it live? The cat ignored it and looked at Fang Yuan, who was still practicing martial arts, and mumbled. That chubby face was even more hard-working than it when it taught her cultivation methods. It thought that chubby face was afraid of pain and would cry at the sight of the heavens, but it didn't cry. This cat doesn't want to cultivate. The cat lay on the ground, depressed. It didn't want to cultivate. Cultivation was too tiring. But now there were so many people who wanted to kill it. What should it do? They all felt that killing it would be the beginning of a new era. After killing it, those top experts would probably come out of their seclusion and start a new round of battles. Killing the ash cat would become a symbol of an era. How innocent! The cat was depressed and sad. It wanted to kill the cat. Did the cat eat your food? The next moment, it appeared in a small world. There was a lake in the small world, and there were all kinds of fish in it. The cat was not in the mood to eat this time. It rolled to the edge of the world, looked at the darkness at the edge, and scratched its head. Was it going to open a path? Would it be tiring to open a path? Would it lose a few 100,000 caddies after opening it? As it thought about it, it was tired, exhausted, and could not open its eyes. After a while, the cat in reality let out a low snore. Sleep. Open a path. How tiring. At the side, the Jiao's face darkened. This fat cat said that it didn't work hard, but what about itself? It fell asleep so quickly. It had the nerve to say that it didn't cultivate in Spirit Emperor Dojo. At this moment, Fang Ping had not even started his grand robbery, yet he had actually encountered Moon Spirit. When he met Moon Spirit, Old Zhang and Heavenly King Zhen ran away. This surprised Fang Ping. Did they do something to Moon Spirit that they dared not show up now? He only thought this in his heart. Otherwise, Old Zhang and Heavenly King Zhen would not go easy on him. They just did not want to be entangled with the crazy Moon Spirit. Moon Spirit had just suffered a blow, and her emotions were unstable. If they met, a fight might break out. There was no need for that. As for Fang Ping did not run when he met them, but insisted on going over. They could not be bothered. Fang Ping was not weak. Even if Moon Spirit attacked, she would not be able to kill Fang Ping in a short time. They could just come back. On a tall mountain, Moon Spirit sat on the peak, motionless. Even when Fong Ping walked back and forth a few times, this woman pretended not to see him. Her temper was much better than before. Of course, it could be that she did not care. Fong Ping walked a few rounds. Seeing that she did not move, he chuckled and moved closer. When they were about 1,000 meters apart, he smiled and said, "Senior Moon Spirit, long time no see." Moon Spirit glanced at him. Her gaze was cold, and she was not in a good mood. If Fong Ping dared to talk nonsense again, she would strike him to death. Fong Ping smiled. "Senior, are you still sad for Hongyu? You have a death wish." Moon Spirit's aura exploded. Fong Ping said hurriedly, "Don't worry. That Hongyu is fake. His consciousness has long been destroyed by the chaotic consciousness. The real Hongyu will not let go of you, Senior." Moon Spirit frowned. She stopped and did not attack again. Fong Ping smiled. "Senior, actually, it's easy to find the real Hongyu. If he killed the current Hongyu, broke his origin world, extracted the real Hongyu's origin energy, and resurrected him. Even if his strength would be greatly reduced, he would still be Senior's Dao partner, not the fake Hongyu. Senior, do you think what I said makes sense?" Moon Spirit frowned and looked at him coldly. Fong Ping smiled. "Of course, this is just my guess. I think the real Hongyu still loves you, Senior. 8,000 years ago, when Hongyu escaped from the heavenly realm, I suspect that part of his origin might have been taken by his father, the earthly sovereign's consciousness. That's why the earthly sovereign's clone was born. Senior, why don't we try? Kill the fake Hongyu, extract his origin, and see if we can extract the real Hongyu's origin chi? Of course, this is just a guess. It might not be true." Moon Spirit looked at him coldly and said coldly, "That day, you lied to me, saying that you found his remains." Fong Ping smiled. "I didn't lie to you, Senior. He really gave me that sword. The Hongyu from that day is this. I thought he was the person you were looking for, Senior. That day, he said that he was already dead. His remains were destroyed, and only the sword was left. I gave the sword to you. I didn't lie to you, did I?" Moon Spirit snorted coldly, her gaze icy. "Li Zhu and the others said that if they met you, they would just beat you to death and not say another word." Fong Ping sneered. "Those people were just afraid that I would expose their conspiracy. Although I'm young, I have a high IQ. As soon as I find some clues, I can trace it back to the source and find out the truth. Some of their conspiracies can't withstand my deduction, and I will see through them very quickly. That's why they were afraid of me, afraid that I would open my mouth. They didn't dare to let me say those things. Otherwise, I wasn't even a true god. Why would they be afraid of me? It's all because they were afraid of my IQ, afraid that I would expose them." Moon Spirit sneered, her disdain overflowing from her words. "Senior, you don't have to have this attitude. You think I'm lying?" Fong Ping said casually, "I'm a very observant person. For example, Senior, if you're hiding your strength, it's definitely not as simple as just breaking 6. If you unleash your full strength, you might have the combat strength of breaking 6 peak, right?" Moon Spirit looked at him coldly, sneered, and did not answer. Fong Ping chuckled. "Senior, do you think I'm wrong?" Moon Spirit said nothing, too lazy to care. Fong Ping smiled playfully. It was just a guess. It was not against the law. The leader of the Northern sect, in the past, the leader of the Physique sect, a top-notch powerhouse. If not, how could Mount Wangu lead the powerhouses of the Northern sect? After advancing from rank 9 to rank 9, honing to rank 9, although it was not the first 9 refinements of rank 8, the limit of the subsequent 9 refinements was actually the same, just lacking a qualitative change. This meant that at impasse, Moon Spirit's basic vitality was also 250,000 calories, rank 9's 500,000 calories. At impasse, The peak vitality growth of 1,000 meters was 5,000 calories. As an emperor level, she had at least a peak vitality foundation of 300,000 calories. An emperor level metamorphosis, an increase of 100,000 calories vitality, that would be 400,000. From emperor level to heavenly king, 10,000 meters increased by 10,000 cal. At heavenly king, it could also increase about 100,000 calories vitality. That would be 500,000 calories. At heavenly king, there was also a huge increase, about 200,000 calories. This meant that moon spirit's peak vitality was at least 700,000 calories. It was equivalent to 1.4 million calories at rank 9. 3 times the increase, it was at least 5.6 million calories and above. This was the minimum. In fact, with this ability, it was not strange to unleash the strength of just breaking 6. However, it did not stop Fong Ping from guessing. Did the Northern Sect leader succeed in forging jade bones? Fong Ping suspected that jade bones could cause another qualitative change in vitality. This meant that moon spirit might have another qualitative change in vitality that would be more than 10 million cal. Even if the explosive force was not strong enough, unable to break 7, it was still possible to break 6 peak. As for why he guessed so, it was related to the Northern Sect leader, and also to the fact that moon spirit's golden body had never been broken by anyone. This woman hid it well. Maybe it was because she did not fight enough. Maybe it was because of her identity. She did not want her golden body to be broken. Anyway, Fong Ping had asked before. No one had seen her golden body being broken before. Was it because she had forged jade bones and did not want to expose it? The imaginative Fong Ping guessed casually, laughing and scrupulously. Senior, is it difficult to forge jade bones? Can you teach me? After staying in the royal house for so many years, Senior has been forging jade bones. I heard that among the descendants of the emperor back then, Senior was also extraordinarily talented, even more outstanding than King Kuan. That useless King Kuan has broken 7, maybe even 8. Senior has actually just achieved Heavenly King. That's too scary. I heard that the Celestial Pole Prince and the others were suppressed by Senior back then. Even now, when they see Senior, they are still a little afraid. Senior has actually achieved Heavenly King later than him. Isn't that too slow? It's not like Senior has never participated in a war. In the war between the North and the South, Senior fought in the North and South. Are you not as good as some old antiques in closed-door cultivation? Chapter 1192. On the high mountain, Fong Ping smiled brightly. His expression was calm. I'm just saying. It's fine if it's not true. It really shows my wisdom. The leader of the North Sect, the daughter of the North Emperor, Moon Spirit might have forged jade bones. The union of Moon Spirit and Hong Yu was sensational in that era, because they were both prodigies. Among the descendants of the emperors, both of them were considered the most outstanding. King Kuan became a heavenly king earlier because he was older. Moon Spirit was not dead. She had been alive for a long time and only became a heavenly king recently. Wasn't that too slow? Hong Yu, who was as powerful as her back then, had become a heavenly king long ago. At the very least, when he was pretending to be the earthly emperor's avatar, it was almost 6,000 years. Was the difference between Moon Spirit and Hong Yu that huge? If she had been forging jade bones for the past 8,000 years, it would make sense. Moon Spirit looked at Fong Ping. After a while, she sneered. What a glib tongue! Putting on an act and making a few random guesses can make this empress look at you in a different light. Fong Ping smiled. I'm just chatting. Don't mind me, Senior. Moon Spirit sneered. She looked at him unkindly. What do you want to say by looking for me? Li Jun and Zhang Tao left the moment they saw me. You're brave enough to stay. Do you want me to fight for you? Do you think I'm as stupid as the celestial polarity? The corner of Fang Ping's mouth twitched. What she said, the next moment, Fang Ping could not help but ask, is the celestial polarity prince really that stupid? Moon Spirit's expression turned colder. After I said that, you're still going to mock me? Is the celestial polarity stupid? Are you trying to pick a fight? Fang Ping saw that she did not reply. He smiled. All right, I'll get straight to the point. Senior, let's work together. You're all alone. Do you really think Hong Yu and Hong Kun are with you? You're all alone. Moon Spirit sneered. All alone. If I don't do anything, who dares to kill me? Hong Yu and Hong Kun won't do anything to me. King Qian and the rest won't either. If they kill me, will Hong Yu and the rest just sit back and do nothing? Even if they don't do anything, those people will be afraid and won't dare to do anything. On the contrary, no one dares to do anything to me. The human race is the same. You dare? Would Li Zhen and Zhang Tao dare? I can completely stay out of this matter. So why should I cooperate with you? Fang Ping, do you think you're the smartest person in the world? When the war between the North and the South broke out, the other paradises were almost completely destroyed. Only the Wanwu sect was almost unharmed. Even the Weiyu Mountain was preserved. Qing Tong was also saved by me. Moon Spirit said coldly, that's why Qing Tong can fight for me and return the favor of saving my life, including the unquestionable sword that you can command. Ask him, does he dare act against me? More than 2,000 years ago, he schemed against all living beings. Who was it that stood up for him? He's currently standing on your side, but that doesn't mean he'll attack me. What are you trying to say? Are you saying that this empress is alone and will be surrounded and killed? In this place, if this palace is willing to appear, I can find more heavenly kings than you. Even Li Zhu owes me a favor. How dare you plot against me? Fang Ping grimaced in pain. After a long time, he said dryly, Senior, you're pretending to be crazy. Crazy? Yu Ling sneered. Who's the crazy one? Let me tell you, the ones who are crazy are the experts of the three realms. Who isn't crazy? Is Li Zhen a lunatic among the normal people in your eyes? He is. God crafting envoy, right? That's true. King Qian, King Sun. These people are all crazy, including you. Do you think you're not? Wrong. You are. Moon Spirit stood up. This world is crazy. Ever since the heavenly realm was destroyed, everyone has gone crazy. No, the 9 sovereigns and 4 emperors have all gone crazy. 10,000 years ago, when the Immortal Source Project started, they actually went crazy. This is a crazy era. A bunch of lunatics have gathered in this era. You guys are crazy, but you don't know it, yet you're mocking this palace for being crazy. What a joke. Fang Ping was silent. After thinking for a while, Fang Ping nodded and said, Senior is right. We've all gone crazy. We've been forced to go crazy. Humans are so innocent. Why do you all have to target humans? That's the 9 sovereigns and 4 emperors' fault. Moon Spirit sneered. Because you guys are weak, but you guys are the beginning of all living beings. Beginner martial arts and origin originate from the human race. The so-called immortals and gods are also humans. The human race is the origin of all living beings. You guys don't have the strength, and you're the key to the plan, so of course we have to target you. What's there to be innocent about? Just like how you trample an ant to death. Do you think the ant is innocent? Senior seems to know a lot of things. Is it a lot? Moon Spirit laughed a little crazily. There are always people who think that they can control all living beings, but little do they know that it is just a fantasy. They all live in their own world, always thinking that everything will go according to their plans. How laughable. Fong Ping looked at her, speechless for a long time. It was a bad start. The first heavenly king he met seemed to know a lot of things, and was not as crazy as he appeared. That's right. Did Moon's spirit really lead the northern faction just because of her identity and status? That may not be the case. In the battle between the North and South, Wang Wu was practically unscathed. They had nurtured more than 10 absolute peak experts, and there were even monarch-level existences. This was not something that the other sects could compare to. Fong Ping was ready to give up. Forget it. I'll just go and fool Celestial Terminus. Moon's spirit was more complicated than he had imagined. Right at this moment, Moon's spirit suddenly said, "Do you know that the Grand Tao has an end?" Moon's spirit smiled faintly and said, "Don't you understand? The Great Tao has an end. Some people had already reached the end. The Heavenly King is the starting point and also the end. Some people can't go on anymore. Their path has been blocked." Fong Ping frowned. "Senior, you mean it's in this place? Many of these people have actually reached the end, do you know? Breaking 7 is almost the end." Moon's spirit said faintly, "Feng, Li Zhan, God-forging envoy, Sea Guardian, King Qian, Li Zhu, these people may have already reached the end. Their path has been blocked. At this moment, they can no longer move forward. Breaking 7 is considered the limit, but some people want to break 8, and some people have achieved it. That is because of some special circumstances. If Feng broke 8, then he broke a seal and broke the gate of spiritual consciousness. If Li Zhan broke 8, the biggest possibility is that he broke the energy gate. And now, these people want to break 9, want to break all the obstacles and become a true invincible powerhouse. That is why they are crazy." Fong Ping asked curiously, "Break the seal? Can the Sanjiao gate be broken?" "Of course, as long as you are strong enough." Moon's spirit said faintly, "The Sanjiao gate is not an obstacle. You don't understand. Let me put it this way. Back then when the emperors blocked the road, it might not have been out of malice. But the immortal source plan might have gone wrong. The immortal source plan was the key to the fall of Celestial Realm. Not because of blocking the road. Heavenly Emperor Zhan objected in the Celestial Court, not because of the establishment of the Sanjiao Gate, but because the immortal source plan could easily go wrong. As it turned out, there was really a mistake." Fong Ping looked at her. Moon's spirit said faintly, "From what my father said, there are some things that outsiders don't understand. Back then, my father doted on me. When they talked about things, they would not hide some things from me. The chaos still appeared in the immortal source plan." Fong Ping asked in a low voice, "What is the immortal source plan?" "I don't know." Moon's spirit smiled calmly. "Don't ask me. I don't know either. But I can tell you some things about the Sanjiao Gate. The Sanjiao Gate is not an obstacle, but a kind of training. It tells everyone that only by breaking the Sanjiao Gate completely can it be truly comprehensive. Otherwise, it will be the same as the ultimate path. It will be flawed, a very big flaw. The ultimate emperor also knows about this. So the Sanjiao Gate of the ultimate emperor also exists. But in their Sanjiao Gate, there must be a gate that does not have any obstacles." Fong Ping's pupils contracted slightly. He had heard about this from Tai Tu before. Tai Tu and the rest. Pushing the gate seemed very simple. Under normal circumstances, extreme Tao venerable emperors have 2 sealed doors, and they need to break these 2 doors. Only then can they become a true emperor, an all-round emperor. Moon's spirit sneered. "What do you think the Sanjiao Gate is? Do you know when there was no Sanjiao Gate, countless powerhouses in the 3 realms self-destructed and died? The Sanjiao Gate is a means of protection, not a means of restriction. A bunch of idiots always think that the Sanjiao Gate is the restriction, the key to stopping them from becoming emperors." Let me tell you, when you break the gate of life, you can also be considered to have achieved Jade Bones Tao. When you break the energy gate, your human vitality will go through a qualitative change. When you break the gate of spiritual consciousness, similarly, your spiritual consciousness will also go through a qualitative change. The qualitative change of your spiritual consciousness will urge your origin to move forward and become stronger, Moon Spirit said mockingly. Do you understand now? The Sanjiao Gate is a good thing, not a bad thing. The real bad thing is in the sky. Fong Ping looked up at the sky, at the source of energy, the big sun. Even from here, he could see it. This was the bad thing, Moon Spirit said coldly. You dare to fool me when you only know bits and pieces of it. What a joke. I'm telling you all this to let you understand that the idiot in your eyes will always be more clear-headed than you. Fong Ping shrugged, saying indifferently, I'm only 21 years old. I've been practicing martial arts for a little more than 3 years. It's normal that I don't know. It's nothing. Moon Spirit's eyes were ice cold. She wanted to kill him. Showing off to me? Was being 21 years old that great? Fong Ping did not care about this. Instead, he asked curiously, if that's the case, to achieve Jade Bones, one must break the Sanjiao Gate. That's right. Then beginner martial artists. Beginner martial artists are beginner martial artists. Origin is origin. Different paths lead to different cultivation methods. The establishment of the Sanjiao Gate is to let origin martial artists have a clearer concept and know where their goals are. Unfortunately, the Immortal Source project went wrong before the matter was fully publicized. Fong Ping nodded, understanding a little. The problem was not the blockage, but the problem of the Immortal Source. No wonder old Wang. And the rest also had the Sanjiao Gate. Maybe the four emperors also had the Sanjiao Gate back then. They also wanted to break their own limits and acknowledge the existence of the Sanjiao Gate. No wonder they could walk the great path in the opposite direction. It was because one of the gates was accessible. Maybe I can try walking the great path in the opposite direction, push open the Sanjiao Gate, and forge jade bones. Fong Ping thought in his heart. The current him was not that eager to walk tens of thousands of meters on the great path. This was because his origin world was covering these great paths. However, if he walked the great path in the opposite direction and forged jade bones, then it would be different. However, the difficulty would be extremely high. Emperors had flaws. This was what old Zhang told him. Fong Ping suspected that there might be problems with the emperor's Tao too. Some emperors did not seem to have jade bones. The origin Tao has flaws. It's not just a problem with the origin. This thought arose in Fong Ping's mind. The old cat told him that the emperors might have unified their strength. However, now it seemed that it was not perfect. Moon Spirit had said so much today. It had helped Fong Ping a lot. At least he knew how to forge jade bones. Break the life gate. The Sanjiao Gate was the vitality gate. The catacombs called it the energy gate, spirit gate, life gate. The life gate was related to the flesh. The vitality gate was related to vitality. As he thought about it, Fong Ping fell into deep thought. Moon Spirit said indifferently again, there are still some things that you might not know. However, you can go and ask. Maybe you'll gain something. What? Go and find dragon transformation. Moon Spirit smiled playfully. There's a big secret on dragon transformation. Maybe it's related to something. However, I won't go. If you're interested, you can go and ask. Dragon transformation. Fong Ping's pupils contracted again. There was a secret on dragon transformation. He had thought about this before. After all, it was a demon. It had hidden for countless years and was only recently discovered to be a demon. This ability was not small. Even Heavenly King Zhen and the others were not too clear about this. The old cat should have known. Unfortunately, this cat had forgotten a lot of things. Fong Ping did not forget the scene he saw in Skywood. The old cat had taken dragon transformation with its mouth when it was young. Moon's spirit smiled brightly. At this moment, there was not a trace of madness. In the next moment, the void shattered. Moon's spirit stepped on the air and left. She smiled faintly. Don't underestimate anyone, including Celestial Polarity and Hong Kuan, who you think are stupid. Why did you help me, Senior? Help you? Maybe. Moon's spirit smiled faintly. Was it help? That might not be the case. Maybe it was a trap. Fong Ping's consideration was too simple. Telling him something. Was that helping him? Moon Spirit left. In the next moment, Heavenly King Zhen and Old Zhang came out. Both of them asked curiously, "What did she say?" "Didn't you hear?" Fong Ping was puzzled. "Did they eavesdrop?" Old Zhang was speechless. How? This woman sealed the void. As soon as my mentality touched it, it was shattered by her. What's there to listen to? Fong Ping understood and smiled. She said that you're not good people, especially Senior Li. You've already broken through 8. You've broken through the life gate and the vitality gate. You're just short of the mentality gate to break through 9, but you're pretending to be weak. Heavenly King Zhen's face darkened. Nonsense. Fong Ping yawned. Maybe. She also said that you forged jade bones a long time ago. I don't know what you're afraid of, but you have to pretend. Nonsense. Fong Ping chuckled. Moon Spirit said it, not me. Oh, right. She also said that you, Old Zhang. What did she say about me? Zhang Tao said disapprovingly, I didn't hide my strength. Nowadays, humans are eager to be strong and intimidating. She didn't say that you hid your strength. She said that you're two-faced, shameless, thick-skinned, likes to eavesdrop, not a good person. Zhang Tao's gaze was sharp. He looked at him. Were you sure this was what Moon Spirit said? Or did you say it yourself? Did you find someone to arrange it? Fong Ping was calm. Moon Spirit said it. Heavenly King, subduing, had a headache. Looking at the two of them cross-eyed, he shouted, Stop talking nonsense. Let's go. Let's get down to business. Take advantage of the fact that everyone is not on guard now, and see if we can seize some treasures. It's best for us to split up and gather together. We'll be too big of a target. Fong Ping, go and seize some saint tokens by yourself. We'll split up too. Fong Ping was speechless. It's not that easy for me to take down a saint. Don't give me that. You can hide your aura. If the average saint encounters you alone, they won't be able to guard against you. You're more dangerous than us. After all, their auras were strong. The saints could more or less sense them. If they encountered them from afar, they would have to run. Fong Ping was different. If this guy hid, the saints could hardly sense his presence. All right then, Fong Ping added, we'll split up when dealing with the saints. When dealing with the heavenly kings, the two of you must hurry over. The two of them ignored him. Very quickly, they broke through the void and disappeared on the spot. Fong Ping pondered for a moment and had an idea. Perhaps he should look for the Dragon Transformation Emperor. Did he have a saint token on him? Maybe he did. It seemed that the 4 lords of Brahma all had this thing. Break through the Sanjiao Gate and develop in an all-round way. Fong Ping just found out about this. At this moment, in a huge small world, Li Hansong's upper body was bare. His lower body was wrapped in animal skin. He had long hair. The only thing he lacked was a nose ring. He walked on the quaint street with a swagger. Forged jade bones. At this moment, Li Hansong was speaking a language that Fong Ping could not understand. He waved his arm and said proudly, I've also forged half a jade bone. Do I need to learn from the origin Dao martial artists? Even emperors can't achieve jade bones. Beside Li Hansong, someone dressed in a brocade robe was not as wild as him. Upon hearing that, he laughed and said, "Of course, Brother Iron is different from the origin martial artists. Half jade bones. This is something that many second-generation beginners can achieve. I didn't expect Brother Iron to be so powerful, but it's also fortunate that Brother Iron has jade bones. Otherwise, if we met that day, I'm afraid the city lord would have already killed Brother Iron. Brother Iron, your lineage has been living in seclusion for too long. If Brother Iron did not come out of the mountains, I'm afraid people would have forgotten about you." Li Hansong said carelessly, "Of course, martial artists have to live deep in the mountains when they cultivate. Look at you guys. You've thrown away the traditions of your ancestors. Now you're learning to be origin martial artists and even wearing brocade robes. Beginners shouldn't wear clothes. When I was young, I never wore clothes in the mountains. I was close to nature." Beside him, the youth in the brocade robe smiled bitterly. "Brother Iron is right. No wonder Brother Iron didn't wear anything the first time we met." Li Hansong's expression did not change, but he cursed in his heart. Was it because I didn't wear it? Wasn't it because I was forced? Who knew that it would be so dangerous? I was chased by a masterstroke monster and almost got eaten. Didn't you guys come before my armor could appear? If I didn't say that, would I tell you that I ran naked on purpose? Luckily, I'm smart. In addition, I heard a few words from Old Wang and knew that there was a high probability that I met the beginners. Sure enough, I guessed correctly. Li Hansong was very proud. "Soon," he said, "when I achieve jade bones, I'll kill that monster with the strength of a saint. How dare it eat my master? It's too much." The people behind him revealed looks of pity. It was a pity that the powerhouse of this lineage was eaten by a saint monster. That was true. There were many monsters and powerhouses in the nearby sea. Wasn't he courting death by entering the sea for no reason? There were many powerhouses in the beginner's lineage. However, the strength of a saint was extremely powerful. Brother Iron has already forged half jade bones. He's not far from jade bones. The youth in the brocade robe said, enviously, "It's rare to see a pure beginners like Brother Iron now. Only Brother Iron can persevere." Now, many people from the beginner's lineage have already switched to the origin Tao. These people sigh. Their strength improves too quickly. I'm envious. It's a pity that I can't mention this. Otherwise, my father will definitely not let me off easily. As the youth in the brocade robe spoke, he continued, "I wonder when I'll be able to advance to the 9th refinement of the golden body. Now, my golden body is still at the 8th refinement. To me, jade bones are like a dream." The youth was really envious and in awe, persevering in the beginner's path and reaching this step. This beginners who walked out of the deep mountains and forests might not be too powerful. However, half jade bones meant that he was really suitable to walk the beginner's path. Moreover, his talent was terrifyingly powerful. How many beginners had not forged jade bones for tens of thousands of years? This guy was actually fast. Of course, the so-called half jade bones only meant that the golden body was strong and slightly jade-like. It had not reached that level yet. This step might take tens of thousands of years to walk to jade bones. However, this guy in front of him definitely had a bright future. He heard that even the powerhouses in the central mainland knew about him now. They knew that there was a pure beginner's genius who walked out of the barren land. Li Hansong smiled proudly, but he was secretly groaning in his heart. Jade bones were the reason for his success and failure. Jade bones saved his life, but now, if he really came into contact with some top-notch beginners' powerhouses, he would be in big trouble. He was not Fong Ping, who could change his aura. Most beginners cultivated vitality. Of course, There were also people who cultivated energy. This was nothing. The most important thing was no one cultivated the Sanjiao Gate. No one had discovered it now, but it did not mean that it would never be discovered. Once his Sanjiao Gate was discovered, then he would be in big trouble. It was not that no one in the Chu mainland cultivated the Sanjiao Gate, but how could those who cultivated the Sanjiao Gate have jade bones? Li Hansong looked around. Should he find a chance to run away? He was so scared. Old Wang had tricked him. He had said that there was an opportunity here. Was this it? To think that he had gone through so much trouble to come here. He was almost eaten by monsters along the way. If not for the divine armor, he would have died long ago. He had finally come here. If he was exposed now, there would definitely be a lot of gossip. Looking at the animal skin he was wearing, he wanted to cry, but had no tears. Who liked this look? But now, he had no choice but to pretend. He had to pretend to be ignorant to survive. He did not know anything about this godforsaken place. He could not pretend anymore. At this time, the youth in the brocade robe beside him said, "This time, Brother Iron, when you go to the central mainland, you will definitely be favored by powerhouses. Maybe not long after, you can forge real jade bones and become a big shot in this world. Brother Iron, when that time comes, don't forget me," Li Hansong said casually. "Why would I? Am I Iron Fist, that kind of person? Actually, I don't want to be apprenticed. I have a master. Although he's dead, he's still my only master. Tell me, if I don't be apprenticed, can I learn anything?" The youth in the brocade robe cursed in his heart. "Idiot! This was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and you actually rejected it. You stayed in the deep mountains and forests until you became an idiot. I don't know what kind of luck you have, but your talent is terrifyingly strong, and you actually forged half jade bones. Otherwise, you wouldn't have gotten your turn. P.S. Late update, stuck. It's impossible to maintain the state of pissing oneself in writing for more than a year. Please forgive me, everyone." Chapter 1193. Secondly, those who did not subscribe kept asking why the chapters were so expensive. The author was heartless and only replied once. The subscription price of the platform is the same. It's not that I'm expensive. Every chapter starts at 6,000 words. Look at other people's chapters that cost 2,000 words. There's no point in comparing. Thirdly, the book review doesn't ask why the posts were deleted. There's no ban on posts. That means it's not because the posts were deleted. If the posts were deleted, they would be banned. That's the system's problem. Fourthly, I want to announce a piece of good news. Gao Wu Comics have started development. However, it's hard to say when it will be released. The traditional Chinese version has also been published. I've never heard of the simplified version, so I won't say anything more. Chapter 1194. They used to be companions, but now they had their own paths. Fang Ping couldn't care less about his companions now. The Spirit Emperor Dojo was huge. The dojo of the past emperors was naturally extremely huge. At this moment, a large number of experts were scattered around. All of them had concealed their auras and were hiding on the ground. Fang Ping wandered on the ground, looking for a target. There were many heavenly king powerhouses here, but they were all fighting for the 9 emperor seals in the depths. Not many heavenly kings were around. Fang Ping hid in the dark, ready to find someone. Suddenly, his expression changed, and he flew away. The next moment, a giant hand broke through the void, shattering the void where Fang Ping was. 6th heaven break. A long-distance attack broke through the 6th heaven. Fang Ping was very far away. At this moment, Fang Ping, who had escaped 100 miles away, looked into the distance with golden light in his eyes. A figure flashed in the distant void. King Kuan. King Kuan glanced at Fang Ping and said lightly, "You're sharp." Fang Ping frowned. King Kuan smiled and tore the void to leave. Fang Ping's expression changed. He also tore the void and left. Although he could conceal his aura, he was in a hurry. It was easy for a powerhouse like King Kuan to sense the fluctuation of the void. Fang Ping was not surprised to see King Kuan's long-distance attack. If it were him, he would also attack if he encountered a few true god enemies. "Looks like I didn't fool them," Fang Ping sighed. He was not too surprised. Even if the Sky Sealing clan had destroyed the divine sect, King Kuan might not start a war with them. King Kuan was very patient. For 8,000 years, he almost never left the divine sect. This guy was more patient than expected. Fang Ping and King Kuan left one after another. The next moment, someone arrived. Doqian and Li Zhu. Their mentality swept around. Li Zhu chuckled. "Let's go." Hong Kuan was just testing Fang Ping. He's not ready to kill Fang Ping yet. After all, Li Zhan is here. Doqian's expression was gloomy. He looked at Li Zhu and said, "Fang Ping must be killed. Fang Ping is more terrifying than I thought. His Tao is boundless. He has the combat strength of a true god. I suspect that his Tao is amplified in both directions." Hearing this, Li Zhu's expression changed slightly. Soon he nodded and said, "I'm afraid so." Otherwise, even if his golden body 9 refinements had undergone a qualitative change in the quality of his qi and blood, he wouldn't have the strength he has today. The amplification of his essence is even greater than that of an emperor. I'm afraid there's something special about the 9th refinement's spiritual sense. At their level, they were no fools. Fang Ping's strength was extraordinary. Either his vitality had undergone 3 qualitative changes, or there was something wrong with his origin. If one's qi and blood had undergone a qualitative change, one would be able to sense it when fighting. Looking at it now, it was more likely that Fang Ping's origin had a higher increase. This was different from when Fang Ping had just achieved Tao validation. Li Zhu pondered for a while, then said, "His Tao is special, and the distance he has opened up isn't very long. He has a lot of room for improvement in the future. Fang Ping is indeed a strong opponent. In my opinion, he's even scarier than the Heavenly King suppressing. No matter how strong the Heavenly King suppressing is, he's already reached a limit. He hasn't been able to advance even an inch for many years." As for Fang Ping and Zhang Tao, although Zhang Tao has improved quickly, it's related to Zhang Tao's King Path. Fang Ping's strength isn't just a matter of King Path. At this point, Li Zhu's eyes were deep, and he said softly, "Actually, everyone can see Fang Ping's threat. He has proven his Tao and killed a saint, and he has already aroused everyone's fear. It would have been fine if he didn't come here, but since he's here, kill him." Doqian was a little depressed. "It's very difficult to kill him. That's because you've just become a heavenly king not long ago. Your golden body might not be as powerful as his, and you can't seal his essence, so naturally, it's difficult to kill him." Li Zhu was not surprised. Fang Ping was not that easy to kill. At least, it would be difficult for Doqian, who had just advanced not long ago, to kill Fang Ping. If Doqian could seal Fang Ping's essence, of course, it would be easy. The problem was that he could not do it. At this moment, Li Zhu said with some regret, "Your master is not willing to come out now. Otherwise, if he enters this place, he can seal Fang Ping instantly, and Fang Ping will definitely die." King Conferment was very powerful. This was publicly acknowledged. His mentality was terrifyingly powerful. Perhaps it had reached a limit. Sealing Fang Ping and Fang Ping's 10,000-meter Tao was useless. But King Conferment was not willing to enter this place. Although his clone was here, it was not his real body, after all. How could he seal Fang Ping so easily? Dou Qian was also a little regretful, but he still shook his head. Master can't leave now, Li Zhu said lightly. It's not that he can't leave, he just doesn't want to get involved now. He doesn't want to go against King Conferment now, in case he gets hurt and can't participate in the final battle. But he doesn't know if it's worth it to nurture a tiger. Dou Qian frowned slightly. Li Zhu, do you think Fang Ping can reach my master's level? Why not? Li Zhu said coldly. Your master is very powerful. Perhaps he has already broken through the limit and become an ultimate powerhouse. But in this era, everything is possible. Who says that Fang Ping and Zhang Tao have no hope of breaking through the limit and become ultimate powerhouses? Dou Qian's expression changed for a while. Then he nodded. He agreed with Li Zhu's words. If someone else said this, he might have scoffed. But since Li Zhu said so, and he was talking about Fang Ping, the Fang Ping who had almost killed him, denying Fang Ping was denying himself. Fang Ping could become an ultimate powerhouse. Thinking of this, Dou Qian said no more, in a low voice, that Fang Ping must be killed. As for King Wu, I am not afraid of him. But Heavenly King subduing, no matter how powerful Heavenly King subduing is, even if he becomes an ultimate powerhouse, he is not invincible. Heavenly King subduing has many opponents. He would not dare to break the rules and reveal his true strength. In this era, whoever showed up would die. So what if he had broken 8? Were there no powerhouses in the 3 realms who had broken 8? Back then, Tengu, who had broken 8, was the first to show his strength and was killed. Back then, the earthly emperor's avatar might have been Hong Yu in disguise. In the later stages, he also had the potential to break 8, but once he was exposed, he was killed immediately. In this era, a bunch of old antiques were watching. Breaking 7 was acceptable, but once one broke 8, there would be a limit. Some people in that circle were not willing to let newcomers enter. Whoever entered would die. Not only origin martial artists, but beginner martial artists would also not allow such powerhouses to exist. Breaking 8 meant that anyone who showed up would be killed. Breaking 8 meant that one had broken through the limit. This kind of person was the pinnacle of a Tao. Breaking 9 was for the emperor and the 4 emperors. They had not only reached the limit of a Tao, but had also achieved great achievements in both origin and beginner martial arts. Li Zhu looked at him. Dou Tian said in a low voice, Kill Fang Ping, before he has the combat strength of a heavenly king. Otherwise, once he has the combat strength of a heavenly king, how many people can kill him? Lord Li, with your strength of breaking 7, it is not difficult to kill Fang Ping. Li Zhu frowned slightly, thought for a while, and said, I am not shirking responsibility, nor am I unwilling to kill Fang Ping and leave behind future trouble. But I have to say, to kill Fang Ping here, someone must stop Heavenly King subduing. I am not a match for Heavenly King subduing alone, unless there is at least another powerhouse of breaking 7 to stop me, including King Wu. You may not be able to stop him alone. You still need a Heavenly King. Having said that, he added, there is also the existence of the Demon Emperor. Your master will deal with the God Creation Avatar, but the Demon Emperor also needs someone to deal with it. Dou Tian, things are not that simple. Ambush and kill Fang Ping, as long as you are fast enough. Before Dou Tian could finish, Li Zhu laughed and said, Do you think Fang Ping has survived until now purely because of his strength? Having said that, Li Zhu broke the void with a blow. As soon as he broke the void, a figure escaped into the air from the other side of the passage at an extremely fast speed, cursing and swearing. Li Zhu, if you King touch me again, I will not go easy on you. The voice was still there, but the person was long gone. Li Zhu sealed the passage, saying helplessly, This guy is also an elite who has been through hundreds of battles. his sense of danger is extremely strong. Even the slightest movement, he will run faster than anyone else. He has been restraining his aura. To find him, we must make a big commotion. It is impossible for his mentality not to fluctuate. Once it fluctuates, he will escape immediately. It will be very difficult to ambush and kill him. He had the strength to kill Fong Ping, but the key was that Fong Ping ran fast. He was far away before you arrived. He had already escaped. Do Tian pondered for a moment, then said, "Go find Hong Kuan. Hong Kuan also wants to kill him. Also, go find the Sea Guardian to borrow the Sea Calming Sky Mirror. Lock on to Fong Ping." Sea Calming Sky Mirror. Li Zhu raised his eyebrows slightly. Do Tian glanced at him out of the corner of his eye, saying in a low voice, "Back then, the three emissaries all had their own unique treasures, the Weapon Master Divine Spear, destroying the Heavenly Court's great enemy. The Palm Print Emissary controls the Thousand Realms Cauldron, stabilizing the three realms. The Sea Guardian controls the Sea Calming Sky Mirror, suppressing the Sea of Sufferings. I wonder if Lord Li knows where the Thousand Realms Cauldron is." Li Zhu said lightly, "It was lost in the Origin universe." Do Tian did not say much. Was it really lost? The 8 king seals were all demigod weapons. The weapons of the 3 emissaries were close to the level of divine weapons, just one step away from being divine weapons. In other words, other than being unable to sever the Origin Tao, they were no different from divine weapons. The Palm Print emissary was killed. The Thousand Realms Cauldron was lost. It was unknown if Li Zhu had hidden it to conceal his strength. The Sea Calming Sky Mirror was used by the Sea Guardian to suppress the Sea of Sufferings. The Sea of Sufferings was vast and boundless. The Sea Guardian had the Sea Calming Sky Mirror, which could see thousands of miles around the Sea of Sufferings, lock onto the aura, and descend instantly. This thing was a treasure. Among the 3 emissaries, the Sea Guardian was the one who was not in power. The Weapon Master and the Palm Print Emissary were the core figures, and the Palm Print Emissary's Thousand Realms Cauldron was even more powerful. Since Li Zhu said it was lost, Do Tian did not say anything else. Back then, Master's plan was ruined by Li Zhu. Master did not say much, and took the opportunity to reach an agreement with Li Zhu. Li Zhu had endured for many years. He was not easy to deal with. The two prepared to borrow the Sea Calming Sky Mirror. When Li Zhu suddenly asked after flying for a while, "Is Hongyu Feng's disciple?" Do Tian did not speak. Li Zhu smiled faintly. Every generation of the Fengtian bloodline has an inheritor. You compete with Luan, the Overlord, and Hongyu, but Hongyu was a fake earthly sovereign's clone back then. He was powerful, clearly at least a heavenly king. Your Fengtian bloodline actually only sent the Overlord. Aren't you underestimating Hongyu too much? Back then, when the unquestionable sword appeared, your bloodline's Earthshan all had the strength of a top-notch saint. Your bloodline likes people who are stronger. To deal with Luan, when you appeared, you were stronger than him, weren't you? When the Earthshan appeared, he seemed even stronger than the unquestionable sword. Why is it that only the Overlord appeared when it came to Hongyu? Are there no more experts, or are you just going to deal with it? Do Tian said coldly, "What are you trying to say, Lord Li? What are you trying to say?" "I don't want to say anything. Does Feng have some agreement with Hongyu? Feng hasn't come out all these years. Is it related to the Emperor? I don't know." Li Zhu chuckled, not minding. His gaze was like the starry sky of the universe, terrifyingly silent. Li Zhu and Do Tian went to look for the Sea Guardian. After being pressured by King Kuan and Li Zhu, Fong Ping became more cautious. Both of them had exposed their Broken 7 abilities. Broken 7, that was a powerhouse who could unleash the strength of 10 million Cal. At the Heavenly King level, an attack of 10 million Cal might not be able to kill a Heavenly King with a Broken 6, even if it was a beginner. Although the destructive power exceeded their limits, heavenly kings with a broken six all had some tricks up their sleeves. Divert, dissipate, evade, all of these would have an impact. That was why even a heavenly king with a broken seven rarely had a battle record of killing a broken six. However, this did not mean that he could be careless. If he was not careful, he would be locked on by the other party. If he could not kill you in one hit, he could not run away. 2 or 3 hits were enough to kill you. 10 million, and it was just a broken seven. A peak broken seven was even more terrifying, the kind that could easily kill a broken six heavenly king. Encountering such a powerhouse, it would be strange if Fong Ping did not run. These guys did not seem to be prepared to chase after him. They gave up after probing. Hong Kuan, Li Zhu, these 2 bastards dare to attack me. I'll kill you sooner or later. Fong Ping cursed in his heart. Just you wait. Soon, Fong Ping's gaze moved. There were battle fluctuations in front. Soon, Fong Ping secretly approached the battle site. Fight! In a small herb garden, a battle had broken out. The herb garden was protected by a barrier. It was probably destroyed in the past. It was incomplete, as if it had just been dug out from the soil. At this moment, many true gods were fighting. Fong Ping saw someone familiar. The humans were involved. On the human side, the leader was God of War from Pantheon. This brawny man was waving a giant axe, hacking at a near-emperor powerhouse in a frenzy. On the Sino Nation side, there were a few ultimate powerhouses. Nan Yunyue Wu Chuan and the Shun family's elder ancestor, Shun Haotian, were here. On the human side, there were a total of 7 ultimate powerhouses. On the other side, there were forces from other parties. Some were from the catacombs, some were from Grandmaster, and some were from overseas immortal islands. There were more than 10 of them. Fong Ping watched for a while. Suddenly, he struck with his palm. When the giant palm struck, Fong Ping had already unsheathed his saber. Origin's saber strike. Crack! The sound of Dao snapping seemed to come from the void. In the next moment, Fong Ping's giant palm landed, smashing the near-emperor powerhouse who was fighting God of War into pieces. The others did not have any intention of resisting. They tore the void and fled instantly. On the human side, God of War, and the rest also broke into a run. "It's me," Fong Ping shouted softly, walking out from the darkness. At this moment, the others stopped in their tracks. Everyone looked at Fong Ping, a little dazed. Fong Ping had come in. They knew that a huge battle had broken out at the entrance earlier. It was a huge commotion. They had all received the news. But Fong Ping had smacked a near-emperor to death so casually. Fong Ping's expression was indifferent, but he was secretly pleased. Dumbfounded, right? Wu Chuan and the rest were very ostentatious in front of him back then. Now look at them. They had casually smacked a near-emperor to death. Were they not afraid? Fong Ping's expression was indifferent, as if he did not see their dazed gazes. He said casually, "I was passing by, so I killed him. You don't mind, right? These days, I've killed too many saints and venerable emperors. I forgot to hold back just now." Wu Chuan grimaced. "Why did you have to add this sentence? What were you trying to say?" In the crowd, the other few paragons did not know whether to laugh or cry. Fong Ping was not too familiar with the paragons of the other 5 holy lands. However, he had heard that Fong Ping from Sino Nation was a little ambitious. He was young and liked to show off when he had nothing to do. Now he could experience it. God of War glanced at Fong Ping, then at the near-emperor powerhouse who had been smacked to death. Although he felt that this brat's words were annoying, he still smiled. "I heard that you killed a saint outside. Is that true?" Fong Ping smiled. "It's all right. I was planning to kill a heavenly king before coming in. Unfortunately, I was stopped by someone. That Fellow's master was too powerful. I couldn't kill a powerhouse who had broken 8. Wu Chuan was speechless. Among the crowd, he was the closest to Fang Ping. At this moment, he could not help but ask, "Why did you let those fellows go?" "My status is different now," Fang Ping lamented. "It's fine if I kill a few. If I kill too many, it'll cause a big commotion. Those heavenly kings will come looking for trouble. When you're at a high place, you can't help yourself. If it were before, killing them would be fine. But now, aren't there still many heavenly kings around? At our level, if we kill too many paragons, it'll be easy for us to be surrounded and attacked. Speak properly," Wu Chuan berated, feeling a little helpless. "Why do your words sound so awkward?" As he thought about it, he felt a little sad. When he came in, he was a Taoist paragon. How proud he was! Fang Ping was not a paragon yet at that time. No, he had just advanced to rank 9 that day. In the blink of an eye, Fang Ping had already begun to fight with heavenly kings. Fang Ping smiled smugly. Then he said, "Let's leave this place first to prevent powerhouses from rushing over." Having said that, Fang Ping smacked his palm, breaking the barrier of the small herb garden in the distance. He grabbed some of the remaining heavenly treasures in the herb garden. More than 10 minutes later, in a valley, both sides exchanged information with each other. Both Warlord and Commander Li have advanced to Venerable Emperor. That's pretty fast. Fang Ping was a little happy. These two had become emperors. Previously, Heavenly King Garrison and the others did not mention it. He just found out. In fact, both of them were too lazy to mention it. It was meaningless to talk about this with a guy who killed a saint in the blink of an eye. As soon as this was said, the Shun family's patriarch smiled bitterly. "Don't mention it. That old brat Jiang Tianming has become an emperor. He has come to us many times. Every time he comes, he taunts us, saying that we've lived our lives in a dog's stomach. I'm afraid to see him now." Fang Ping could not help but laugh. Then he looked at Shun Haotian and asked curiously, "Patriarch Shun, are your injuries too serious? Why do I feel like you haven't improved much these days? I see that Minister Zhang has improved very quickly." Having said that, he looked at Nan Yunyue and added, "Elder Nan's improvement isn't slow. Old Wu seems to have improved a little too. What happened to you?" Shin Haotian and the Chun family's patriarch were the ones who created new martial arts. Why did these two not seem to have changed much? Fang Ping was really a little puzzled. The human race was strong. Even if these people did not take the human king's path, as powerhouses who created this era, they would more or less have some influence. It was not considered luck. As long as the human race kept thinking about these two, they would more or less have some understanding of Tao. Shin Haotian glanced at him and thought for a while before saying, "It's normal. After all, our Tao is not the Tao of neo-martial arts. Back then, when we changed to neo-martial arts, there were actually some conflicts with our ideals. After all these years, we can only say that this conflict has gradually weakened, but it doesn't mean that we've completely become one with neo-martial arts." Shun Haotian shook his head. "You were born in neo-martial arts and grew up in neo-martial arts, so there won't be such conflicts of ideals. However, we're different. After all, there are some differences, so there are still some conflicts between the ideals of neo-martial arts and us. In fact, when we created neo-martial arts, we didn't think so much. The current neo-martial arts is actually completely different from when we created it back then. Although they were the pioneers of neo-martial arts, they did not think so much back then. They only hoped that humans could produce some powerhouses to share the burden. Who knew that it would turn out like this?" Fang Ping understood and smiled quickly. "This is nothing. Patriarch Shin, are you unable to improve now?" "A little," Shin Haotian sighed. Sometimes on the path of cultivation, perseverance was not enough. In the past 300 years, his improvement was not too big. Then, patriarch, if you become an emperor, you might not be able to improve in the future. Are you interested in this? Shen Haotian looked at him. The others also looked at Fang Ping. Fang Ping calculated for a while. There were still 4 emperors Dao in his origin. Previously there were 5. Ming Ting had changed 1. And now there were only 4 emperors Dao left. It was difficult for Fang Ping to keep the powerhouses Dao as long as he killed them. When he killed powerhouses, he cut off the Dao. How could there be any Dao left? However, if he did not cut off the Dao, it would be difficult to kill the enemy quickly. As such, Fang Ping was not in the mood to think of ways to keep the Dao. It was very difficult. King Kuan had only collected a few after so many years. For Emperor's Dao, this could only be replaced by a desperate realm. Otherwise, it would be normal for a normal rank 9 to explode from the origin Qi. The Shun family patriarch had been unable to improve for a long time. Fang Ping felt that replacing him might be a good thing. Become an emperor, the Shun family patriarch's eyes were bright. His white hair was a little messy. At this moment, he looked at Fang Ping and asked hurriedly, "Can I do it?" "Yes, but you need some time to get used to it. Moreover, it's very difficult to improve in the future. It's a brand new Dao. You might not be able to adapt to it quickly. It's okay," Shen Haotian said in surprise. "It's fine as long as I have emperor-level strength." Look at that fatty Jiang Tianming. Didn't he also change his Dao? I don't see him feeling ashamed. It's fine as long as his strength increases. As for the future, I can't even enter emperor level now. What future is there to talk about? Fang Ping did not say anything after hearing that. Seeing that the others were also looking at him eagerly, he smiled and said, "Everyone here, Patriarch Shen can try. Senior God of War can also try if he's interested. The others can forget about it." There were only 4 emperors Dao left, 1 for the Shen family patriarch. Fang Ping was also prepared to give 1 to the Chen family patriarch. The remaining 2 emperors Dao could be distributed to the powerhouses of the other 5 sacred lands. These sacred lands, the 5 leaders had merged with Old Zhang last time. Their strength was greatly reduced. Fang Ping also had to take care of them. The burly god of war was still holding his gigantic axe at this moment. When he heard that, he said in surprise, "I can try too." Fang Ping smiled. "Actually, I still suggest that you don't. Senior God of War is also a near Emperor-level powerhouse. It's not impossible for you to achieve Emperor level on your own. War King was forced to self-destruct his own Dao. However, if Senior needs it, you can consider it yourself. It's fine too." God of War could not help but say, "Kid, you're much more generous than Zhang Tao. That bastard only knows how to F** king bluff. He never gave any benefits, but you can't blame him. That grandson's strength is weak. He doesn't dare to rob powerhouses. Where would he get the good stuff?" He called Zhang Tao grandson. Fang Ping pretended not to hear him. These were all old antiques. Let him shout. Old Zhang would settle it himself. Still, he coughed softly and said, "It's not easy for Minister Zhang. After all, he can't amass as much wealth as I can. He only took some things from me in these 2 years. They're not very useful to the seniors. Look at him. He doesn't even have a handy weapon. He's so poor. Senior, please don't blame him." Everyone was speechless. "You're even praising yourself." Fang Ping chuckled. "Seniors, don't worry. It's okay to progress slowly now. When we return to Earth, I'll try to set up a heaven-defying array for the holy land that all of you are in. Maybe it can increase your strength." "What?" Fang Ping laughed. "We'll talk about this later. That array of mine consumes a lot of energy every time. I'll see if it works. Everyone looked at him suspiciously. What array could increase one's strength? You're not bluffing, are you? Fong Ping did not explain. Since Shun Haotian had no objections, he did not delay it. He brought the origin realm with him this time. He had already prepared to increase the senior's strength and achieve emperor rank. On the human side, there were heavenly kings, and he had a saint's combat strength. However, there were not many emperor ranks. With a few more emperor ranks, they could fight a saint if they joined forces. Even if these people had just achieved emperor rank and were not very compatible, it was not too difficult for 4 emperor ranks to fight a saint if they joined forces. In the future, once he integrated the 6 holy lands, he might be able to give them something in return. They watched as Fong Ping helped Shun Haotian to advance to emperor rank and chatted cheerfully with God of War and the other Holy Land's pinnacle powerhouses. Wu Chuan looked left and right. He could not help but send a voice transmission to Nan Yunyue. Is this kid trying to buy people's hearts? Nan Yunyue shot him a look and did not say a word. If you have the ability, go and buy people's hearts too. Don't look at me. I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about old Zhang. Last time, Tian Mu said that this kid has already become a human king. Before that, he was only recognized by the people on Earth. Now, this kid is starting to come in. As soon as he comes in, he's starting to give benefits and make promises. In my opinion, in a few days, this kid in the fake heavenly grave will become a human king and a leader. Should old Zhang retire? Nan Yunyue sent a voice transmission. Are you jealous? Wu Chuan said unhappily, why would I be jealous? I'm just unhappy. This kid is riding on my head. I always feel uncomfortable. Then you can become a heavenly king. What are you saying? Wu Chuan rolled his eyes. If I can become a heavenly king, why would I still be talking to you? Senior brother, don't talk behind people's backs for no reason. How can you think of me that way? At this moment, Wu Chuan's expression stiffened. Fong Ping's playful voice rang in his mind. Wu Chuan turned his head. At this moment, Fong Ping was still chatting with God of War and the rest, but he was smiling and looking at him from the corner of his eyes. Are you convinced? I'm eavesdropping on your voice transmission. Who asked you to be weak? Your mentality is so weak. Aren't you embarrassed to send a voice transmission in front of me? Wu Chuan's expression stiffened even more. Damn it, this bastard didn't learn anything, but learned old Zhang's tricks. Chapter 1195. Half an hour later, Shun Haotian walked out of the origin realm. At this moment, Shun Haotian's aura had changed. It was extremely unstable, and his flesh was constantly exploding. He was not even a near emperor. Forget about near emperor. He had not gone far on the origin Dao. It was only slightly longer than Fong Ping. His strength was really limited. Now that he had replaced an emperor's Dao, he could not adapt so quickly. Fong Ping glanced at him. Seeing him like this, he gave some imperishable substances to this old man to repair his flesh. God's Paradise's God of War thought about it again and again, but still did not choose to replace the Tao. He was a near-emperor powerhouse. In the God's Paradise, only he and the Sun God were near-emperor powerhouses. That day, he was preparing to integrate, but the Sun God beat him to it. This was the same as Startown City. That day, War King was also preparing to integrate, but the Sioux family's Sword King beat him to it. War King was not far from emperor rank, so he chose to give up. Fong Ping did not force it. Fong Ping did not ask the others to replace their Dao. The new martial artists did not need it, and it was best not to replace it. As for those old men, they were still Emperor Dao. There were not many of them, so Fong Ping had to see how they were distributed. No one said anything. This thing was still quite valuable. Ming Ting had worked hard for Fong Ping to become an emperor to get the chance. Without great credit, Fong Ping would not give it easily. After doing all this, Fong Ping also knew the details of this place. On the human side, the number of impasse people was decreasing. Before Fong Ping went to Star Town City, there were still 35 here, including Old Zhang and Heavenly King Garrison. And now, there were still 35, including Fong Ping and Tian Mu, and they both entered later. This meant that these days, humans had lost another 2 peerless powerhouses in battle. 35. In addition to Old Man Li and Wu Quishan in the outside world, the number of human peerless powerhouses was not as much as before, but the overall combat power had increased a lot. More and more people were dying here, and Fong Ping felt a little upset. There were many powerhouses in this place. Just like Fong Ping, sometimes when other people encountered them, they would also kill some people in passing. Over time, the casualties were actually very heavy. There were casualties on all sides. The peerless powerhouses died the most. Emperor ranks were still better. After all, it was much more difficult to kill emperor ranks. I wonder if Su Yunfei and the rest have advanced yet. Fong Ping did not know the situation either. He had left in a hurry that day, so he was not sure if the others had advanced or not. Old Zhang might have felt something, but Fong Ping could not. Even though Old Zhang's strength was improving very quickly, he might not be able to sense an individual's advancement. Just as Fong Ping was thinking about Su Yunfei and the others, the catacombs, a great battle broke out. Royal Sea Mountain region. Old Man Li stood proudly at the peak of the mountain, hugging his long sword. He said nothing. Not far away, Wu Quishan's expression was grim, and he was silent as well. On the opposite side, Fu Chuan and the others were also standing on a mountain peak. Both sides sat and watched the battle below. On the catacomb side, Hua Qidao took the lead and was currently fighting Li Daong, Jiang Yuanhua, and Su Haoren alone. The battle grew more and more desperate. Fong Ping had planned to impersonate a powerhouse and challenge Hua Qidao, but the Sky Ceiling clan had arrived too quickly. Fong Ping had no choice but to face them head-on. He had no choice but to leave Hua Qidao's matter to Old Wu and the others. At this moment, Hua Qidao was in a state of frenzy. His qi was unstable, as if he could level up at any time. Li Daong and the other two were covered in blood. The other two did not know what was going on, but Li Daong did. He had a complicated look in his eyes, unsure of what to do. Being distracted in a battle was the most dangerous. Just as Li Daong was distracted, Hua Qidao thrust his spear. With a bang, it pierced through Li Daong's head. With a flick of the spear, Li Daong was sent flying. His headless golden body crashed into Royal Sea Mountain, and his golden bones exploded. Daong! Someone exclaimed. Many people were watching the battle on Royal Sea Mountain. At this moment, a few powerhouses from the military department saw this, and their expressions changed. Soon, Bei Gongyan looked at Wu Quishan and said in a low voice, "Minister, please join the battle." Wu Quishan looked at him, then at Li Daong, who was recovering his golden body but whose aura was greatly weakened. He frowned slightly. He had asked Li Daong to join the battle because he had his own reasons. Li Daong knew Hua Qidao's identity. If he won at the crucial moment, he would not take Hua Qidao's life. However, Bei Gongyan did not know that once he joined the battle and defeated Hua Qidao, he would definitely kill him. Humans never showed mercy to catacombs martial artists. There was no such saying. However, Li Daong had some misgivings. He was actually defeated by Hua Qidao. Now, 9 powerhouses could not resist Hua Qidao. If this went on, they might be killed. On the side, Fang Yu, who had just recovered from his injuries, also cursed, "I'll go. Minister, this bastard almost killed me last time. Kill him." Wu Quishan looked at the few peerless powerhouses opposite him. The other party also had powerhouses holding the fort. Now, everyone had a tacit understanding. This battle was to train the powerhouses under them, to give some people hope of achieving Tao. Recently, there had been fewer battles between the catacombs and humans. However, battles between rank 9 martial artists were continuous. They hoped that through continuous battles, people could advance. As for whether they could advance successfully or not, whether they would be killed in battle, it all depended on fate. Wu Quishan looked at the battle below. Hua Qidao was very calm. After defeating Li Daong, he was now wearing down Jiang Yuanhua and Fang Yu. If this went on, the two of them would definitely lose. In the past, rank 9 humans could only fight 2 against 3. Today, however, Hua Qidao fought 3 alone, and even defeated the current leader of the military department. This was a huge blow to the humans. It was related to Hua Qidao's strength, but it was also related to Li Daong's misgivings. Wu Quishan's expression changed for a while. He growled, "Beigong Rue, go to battle." "Yes, sir." Beigong Rue was overjoyed. He was the commander of the Wuan military and a powerhouse who had been through many bloody battles. Today, seeing 3 powerhouses defeated by Hua Qidao, he was extremely dissatisfied. He soared into the air. When he passed by Li Daong, he snorted to express his dissatisfaction. Today, Li Daong lacked some bravery in battle. This disappointed him. He still had to rely on him. Beigong Rue. Li Daong was helpless. Without saying anything, he turned and flew toward Mount Yuhai. He was a little worried. Beigong Rue was not weak. If the battle went on, he might really kill Hua Qidao. What should he do? Beigong Rue went up. Unlike Li Daong, this Wuan military general was also a spear-wielding powerhouse. He was the leader of the Wuan military and the strongest powerhouse in the Ministry of Education besides Zhang Tao during Zhang Tao's tenure. Zhang Tao had given him many pointers. At this moment, he attacked with a killing move. The spear was like a dragon or a whip, appearing and disappearing unpredictably. In the blink of an eye, the tip of the spear pierced through the air and struck Hua Qidao's throat. Uffed. Blood splattered. Beigong Rue laughed coldly. 1 against 3. Hua Qidao, you're still lacking. The 3 heavenly generals of the Heavenly Plant's royal court had been very powerful in the past. Qi Huanyu of the Destiny Royal Court had also been extremely powerful. Hua Qidao was still lacking compared to them. How could he be qualified to fight 1 against 3, let alone 3 top-notch human powerhouses? The 3 of them were all veteran 9th-rank powerhouses. Jiang Yuanhua and Su Haoren had also fought for their entire lives. Together with Beigong Rue, the situation was instantly reversed. Hua Qidao's situation was becoming more and more dangerous. The 3 powerhouses cooperated extremely well. They did not make a sound, but Hua Qidao was restricted in all aspects, and his injuries continued to accumulate. Opposite, on the peak of the mountain, Furchuan frowned slightly. He had been rather happy when Hua Qidao had defeated Li Daong. However, once Beigong Rue went up, Hua Qidao was restricted in all aspects and was being suppressed. If this continued, Hua Qidao might be killed. Beside him, Duke Huai's eyes flashed. He smiled and said, "Hua Qidao seems to be a little apprehensive. He didn't have that many misgivings when he defeated Li Daong, but now he's facing Beigong Rue. Beigong Rue's strength is not as strong as Li Daong's." Furchuan glanced at him, but did not speak. Duke Huai smiled again. Beigong Rue has inherited some of King Wu's battle techniques. This king thinks that Hua Qidao is afraid of King Wu's might, and is afraid to fight. Furchuan snorted coldly. How could Qi Dao be like that? Beigong Rui's battle techniques are crafty and as treacherous as King Wu's. Qi Dao just hasn't gotten used to them yet. He then added, today, if Qi Dao defeats these three, he will definitely become a true monarch. Of the three former divine generals, the left divine general had died in battle. Now that Li Zhu had revealed his strength, Furchuan had also become a true monarch. Now that Hua Qidao had a chance to become a true monarch and inherit his father's dying wish, Furchuan was very much looking forward to it. Duke Huai smiled and said no more. He glanced at Hua Qidao again, then at Beigong Rui. Both of them used spears. At this moment, he had a vague feeling that their spear techniques were somewhat similar. It was not that their battle techniques were similar, but rather their styles. After watching for a while, Duke Huai did not say anything. This matter had nothing to do with him, and besides, it was just a guess. However, he had some thoughts in his mind. This was also an era of rapid advancement. Many people had already begun to prove their Tao, and the new generation was rising. In the catacombs, Hua Qidao was about to prove his Tao, and he was not the only one. Some of the descendants of true monarchs were currently performing outstandingly. King Hua's grandson, Hua Yu Jihong's daughter, Ji Yao, as well as some of the veteran hall masters, border generals, and royal city lords had all recently shown signs of advancing by leaps and bounds. Even some of the veteran true monarchs felt that cultivating now was not as difficult as it had been before. Duke Huai had also proven his Tao for a few years. Although he could not compare to other true gods, at least he had done so earlier than Jihong and the others. However, he had always given people the impression that he was trash, and even now he was still a weak true monarch. When he was in the true king realm, there wasn't even a single new paragon in the human world. At this moment, King Huai looked at Li Changxing across from him. He did not reveal his aura, but his gaze was like a sharp sword. What he saw was not a person, but a sword. Longevity's swordsman, King Huai glanced at him, and Li Changxing seemed to have sensed it. He opened his eyes in an instant and looked at King Huai. The sword gleam in his eyes was extremely frightening. King Huai smiled and did not speak, averting his gaze. The next moment, he looked at Wu Quishan. Wu Quishan also saw him. He frowned slightly, but didn't say anything. Lord Huai smiled again. These were the only two absolute powerhouses of the human race. As for the Jiao, Ash Cat, and Heavenly Wood, these demons were all outsiders, not human experts. The human race has risen. We've never been at a disadvantage on any battlefield. With the God creation envoy overseeing the human clan, the 9 saints do not dare to act rashly. Now, the war between the human race and God continent is becoming more peaceful. Both sides are restraining each other. I'm afraid a huge war won't break out so easily. Cultivating the origin Tao is difficult. King Huai sighed in his heart. Cultivation was difficult as ascending to the heavens. Rootless duckweed was even more difficult to cultivate. All these years, it wasn't easy to swindle people here and there to get some resources. It wasn't easy to cultivate to the true monarch realm, but it was getting harder and harder. Although the God continent was rich in resources, that was only relative to the weak. True experts did not need these things. This isn't what I need. I need a greater opportunity. The great Tao needs to improve, and the golden body needs to be tempered. These things are not enough. Thousands of thoughts flashed through King Huai's mind. He glanced at Gu Chuan from the corner of his eye. This fool's luck was good. He had won the favor of Li Zhu and easily became a true monarch. But that was it. This won't do. Now that the sages are in the sky, The heavenly kings have appeared, and Chu Wu has appeared. If this continues, I'll have to continue struggling. King Huai thought again. After so many years of planning, it was time for him to reap the rewards. He was still missing something. The great Tao is too scattered. It's very difficult to fuse and continue. I need a large amount of origin qi, a large amount of imperishable matter to temper my body, and a powerful weapon to suppress the great Tao. Divine weapon. King Huai glanced at Li Changxing again. Heaven-punishing sword. But it was not to be trifled with. There were many human powerhouses, Fang Ping, and the others were even more difficult to deal with. Divine weapon? Who else has a divine weapon? Even a cat was extremely difficult to deal with. Who else had a divine weapon? The Heavenly King's seal and the Sage's token could work, but it was too difficult for the 9 sages to control. In the next moment, King Huai suddenly looked at Old Man Li again. Opposite him, Old Man Li's eyes were cold and sharp, his brows furrowed. King Huai smiled and suddenly said, "Longevity Sword, you still dare to show yourself now? There are many people who want to kill you. Aren't you afraid of dying here?" Old Man Li said coldly, "You can try." "Naturally, I don't have that ability." King Huai smiled. "But there are many people who have this ability. Longevity Sword, I heard that you have the combat strength of a sage. I wonder if you can kill a sage." Old Man Li snorted softly, not bothering to answer. King Huai did not mind. He smiled. "You probably don't have the combat strength of a sage. Probably the combat strength of an emperor. Someone like you may be strong, but you can't suppress everything." Old Man Li could not be bothered with him. Beside him, Furchuan frowned and looked at him. He did not know what this guy was trying to do. Why was he provoking Li Changxing? King Huai did not mind. He smiled. "Longevity Sword, since we have nothing to do, why don't we make a deal? What are you trying to say?" King Huai smiled. "I'm very interested in genius martial artists, especially people like you. I'm willing to use 10 life mineral veins in exchange for a wisp of your origin sword qi. How about that?" Old Man Li's expression turned serious. He sneered. "You want to find my flaw through the origin? Dream on." "Ha ha ha." King Huai did not mind. He smiled. "Since you're so confident, why don't you try? Although your martial artists are getting stronger day by day, you still lack resources, especially now. With Fang Ping gone, I'm afraid you won't be able to make ends meet. If 10 mineral veins are not enough, how about 20? Old Man Li sneered. "You have that many? Of course I don't." King Huai disagreed. "But if you agree, I'll report to the 9 saints. I don't think anyone will reject a mere 20 mineral veins in exchange for your longevity sword's origin sword qi." When he said that, Furchuan looked at him in surprise. This guy, did he think it was possible? Just as he finished thinking, Old Man Li's eyes flickered. 30. If you can bring it, I'll give it to you. Are you serious? What a joke. Old Man Li sneered. All right. King Huai was straightforward. He quickly said, "Someone report to the heavenly court. Bring 30 life mineral veins in exchange for longevity sword's origin sword qi." As soon as he finished speaking, someone quickly flew toward the core of the restricted area. Exchange for longevity sword's origin sword qi. Even the weak understood that this was a big deal. Was 30 mineral veins worth it? Worth it! At this time, even Furchuan was surprised. Could they trade like this? If they really wanted to exchange for Li Changxing's origin sword qi, even he felt that 30 mineral veins were nothing. By now, everyone knew that longevity sword was a little abnormal. What exactly was his origin Tao like? What was its secret? The 9 saints were paying close attention. He did not expect to obtain longevity sword's origin sword qi so easily. This was beyond his expectations. King Huai smiled, as if he did not think there was anything wrong with it. Humans were strong, but the essence of their poverty did not change. When people were poor, it was not a big deal to sell some unimportant things. As for himself, he did not have to pay anything, but he could see longevity sword's origin sword chi. At this moment, King Huai rose into the air and said with a smile, "Longevity sword, since you've agreed, why don't we have a chat? Can you give me a wisp of origin sword chi first?" Old Manly frowned. He was not afraid of the origin sword chi leaking. "You're going to target my origin? Where is my origin? I don't even know if I still have it. What's this about targeting?" The most important thing was, what was King Huai trying to do? This had nothing to do with him. It was better to avoid trouble. Why was he involved? Although he was puzzled, 30 mineral veins was not a small number. The number of human martial artists had increased, and the consumption was huge. Even if the global energy had begun to recover, the consumption of tens of millions of martial artists was still terrifying. Now, it was no longer just energy. They needed some mineral veins to be buried on Earth so that Earth's environment could continue to improve. The scarcity of energy caused the current Earth to become exceptionally fragile, or rather, because there were more martial artists and powerhouses, there were now some chaos everywhere. The destructive power of martial artists was too strong, and it was easy to cause some environmental damage. Earth appeared fragile in the hands of powerhouses, and it had something to do with the lack of energy. Burying mineral veins underground could subtly change the environment, producing products like energy crystals, which were extremely sturdy and could strengthen Earth. The destruction caused by powerhouses fighting in the catacombs was often not as great as on Earth. At this moment, King Huai had already flown over. He was not far from him, and said with a smile, "Longevity sword, the 9 saints will definitely agree. A mere 30 mineral veins was nothing to him. Even if the 9 saints don't agree, I'll think of a way, and it's not impossible to gather enough mineral veins. Don't worry, I don't want to court death. I won't fall out with the humans for some mineral veins. Why don't you give me the sword chi now? And I'll observe it, lest the 9 saints come in person later, and I have no chance to see it. What do you think?" Old Manly sneered. "You want to observe? Can you understand it? Then you don't have to worry." King Huai smiled. "I'm actually quite curious about this. Even if I don't gain anything, comprehending it might be helpful." Old Manly looked at him again, snorted coldly, and a streak of sword chi shot out. This streak of sword chi shot out, piercing through the void directly, and a silver-white flower bloomed in the void. 5 petals. Breakthrough 5. King Huai's pupils shrank, and he quickly retreated. His expression changed drastically. The longevity sword had really broken 5. Breakthrough 5, more than 2. 4 million calories of vitality outburst. The longevity sword had actually reached this level. It was a little scary. Old Man Li was indifferent. He did not plan to kill him. Killing him now would mean a war, and the humans were not prepared for this. King Huai dodged, but it was too late. The next moment, a streak of sword chi pierced through his shoulder. A hole appeared in King Huai's shoulder. The sword chi exploded, and with a bang, his arm was blown apart. However, at this time, a small silver-white sword, as if it was real, suspended in the air in front of him. The sword chi was threatening, piercing King Huai's eyes until they bled. King Huai's face was pale, and he still had lingering fear. He forced a smile. Good skill. As he said that, he grabbed the small sword. This was Li Changxing's sword chi. In a normal battle, this streak of sword chi would definitely dissipate after erupting, but it did not this time. Old Manly said coldly, 30 mineral veins. If you don't have it, I'll definitely hunt you down. Don't worry. King Huai did not care that his arm was broken. His arm recovered quickly, and he laughed. Longevity sword. You're not as bold as Fong Ping, nor as greedy as the Martial King. If it were them with 100 mineral veins as the foundation, a mere 30 is nothing. It was not clear whether these words were praise or contempt. King Huai suddenly felt that trading with Longevity Sword was quite satisfying. He said 20, and the other parties said only 30. They did not argue too much, and soon they reached an agreement. He did not know whether to say that Longevity Sword had not seen the world or to praise him for being straightforward. In any case, it was more pleasant than working with the Martial King. Of course, he had never worked with Fong Ping before because he did not need to ask to know that Guy was more ambitious, and he could not afford to work with him. King Huai caressed the small sword, his gaze constantly changing. He had exchanged for many people's origin chi. As early as a few years ago, he had always remembered the heaven-suppressing king's origin chi, and even did not hesitate to gamble with the outer realm. If he won, he would exchange for origin chi. If he lost, he would ignore the outer realm. This was how the forbidden catacombs were conquered by humans. The explanation that day was that he had obtained the heaven-suppressing king's origin chi and entered the bounded domain. Now, the bounded domain had been revealed without a doubt. The heaven-suppressing king's origin chi exchange seemed to have failed, but in fact, it was a success. The heaven-suppressing king's origin chi was exchanged with Zhang Tao, and Zhang Tao used his own ultimate technique to exchange, and this wisp of origin chi was used by Zhang Tao to exchange for the forbidden catacombs. Yes, the forbidden catacombs was exchanged. King Huai chose to give up. Otherwise, the forbidden catacombs would not have been so easy to obtain. All these years, not only the forbidden catacombs, but also some victories in wars were also used as exchanges to give humans space to live, including when Li Jin fought the 3 god generals and killed the left god general. There were also people who offered some conditions in exchange for some things as the price of sitting back and not doing anything. It was none other than the King Huai, who had always been active in the front line of Mount Imperial Sea. At this moment, King Huai was caressing old man Li's origin chi, as if he was comprehending something. Sometimes he frowned, sometimes he was enlightened, and sometimes his expression was solemn. Old man Li frowned at him, feeling that there was something wrong with this guy. He was very annoying. At this moment, King Huai suddenly opened his eyes and looked at him, his expression changing dramatically. He said in a low voice, "What a longevity sword!" As soon as he said that, he crushed the origin chi with a palm and snorted coldly. "How dare you use a fake origin chi to deceive me?" Old man Li was about to flip out, but the moment the origin chi exploded, the void trembled, and King Huai's voice rang in his ear. "How about we continue to talk about more cooperation? I'm being watched and can't talk freely. Why don't we take this opportunity to talk? I like to work with honest people." A smile appeared in the depths of King Huai's eyes. "Yes, honest people. I like to work with honest people like Longevity Sword. Comfortable." Unlike King Wu, who had worked with him so many times, he had to be careful every time. A little carelessness, and he would lose everything and gain nothing. For example, once they had agreed to exchange for Li Zhen's origin chi, but King Wu took Li Dayong's origin chi to deceive him. He really fell for it. That guy was a master of counterfeiting. This was not the first time he had fallen for this kind of trick. It was impossible to guard against it. Working with King Wu, he had to be 120% careful. How could it be as refreshing as this time? What Li Changsheng gave him was real. The few crafty humans left. King Huai suddenly felt that the humans had become friendly and honest. They were no longer as difficult to deal with as before. Good news. At this moment, Old Man Lee frowned. Why did he feel like he was being looked down upon? Working with honest people. Who was he talking about? Was he talking about me? Old Man Lee's gaze was as sharp as a sword. He was being looked down upon by a useless true king. Was King Huai mocking him just now? Yes, mocking. At this moment, Old Man Lee felt like killing someone. I gave you real origin chi, and you mocked me instead. What kind of mentality is this? Do I have to torture you? Chapter 1196. Cooperate with what? Old Man Lee asked without batting an eyelid. To kill the enemy. King Huai was still questioning the authenticity of the sword aura on the surface, but he said in secret, someone from the beginner lineage has appeared. He's most likely going to Earth to kill Tsang Mao. Do you want the battlefield to be extraterrestrial or on Earth? Old Man Lee's pupils shrank. Today, a beginner martial powerhouse has emerged. His name is Mad Blade, and he killed a saint 10,000 years ago. He hasn't moved yet. He must be waiting for reinforcements. He stopped near the North region. Old Man Lee's expression did not change. He said telepathically, "What do you want?" "Kill him." "You? Wrong, you." King Huai corrected. "If you send too many human powerhouses, it will definitely attract attention. However, if it's only you, Li Chongsheng, I'm afraid it won't attract too much attention. You can even take the opportunity to muddy the waters and kill Mad Blade. You might not know who killed him. If Mad Blade is buried in the restricted zone, it might even cause the beginner lineage to suspect the 9 saints. If so, the beginner lineage will not dare to act rashly. They will be wary of the 9 saints and can buy time for you humans until Fong Ping and the others return. What do you want? I don't have the ability to kill a saint, not to mention a powerhouse who can kill a saint. Old Man Lee's heart trembled. This guy really did not care about the catacombs being implicated after killing Mad Blade. Then what was his goal? We can talk about this later. As for what I want, King Huai's gaze was strange. I don't want much. When Fong Ping comes out, ask him to provide me with a wisp of origin chi. Also, Fong Ping has a lot of origin chi and imperishable substances. You're his teacher, you won't lack them. I need them. Besides, most beginner powerhouses have a weapon that they have honed for life. Mad Blade is a 2nd-generation beginner. He must have a weapon that has been honed for more than 30,000 years. Even if it's not a divine weapon, it must be extremely powerful. I want this weapon. Old Man Lee's gaze was slightly strange. He said telepathically, "You dare to ask, but why?" "Why?" King Huai said with a smile, "I can help you." At this point, it won't be that easy for you humans to kill Mad Blade. Feng Yun, Yu Wei, and the others, do you think they will help you kill the Saint of Beginner Martial Arts? Would they dare? Even if they dared to, they would cause such a huge commotion. Would the Chu Wu lineage die? The 9 saints might not just sit back and watch. The only way was to catch him off guard. Heavenlywood's experts were causing too much of a ruckus. Once they made a move, let alone killing anyone, they would immediately be targeted. The 9 sages would definitely chase them away. They definitely wouldn't let them enter the forbidden area. As for you, your origin isn't obvious and your aura isn't strong. If you hide, as long as you don't get close to the heavenly court, they might not notice you sneaking into the forbidden area. You help me? Old Man Lee's eyes flickered. Why would you help me? What qualifications do you have to talk about cooperation with me? Why, this king has cooperated with the martial king many times and has never let the martial king suffer. Cooperation, mutual benefit. You get what you want. I get what I want. I want weapons, imperishable substance, origin chi. These are my goals. As for you, You killed a beginner martial arts powerhouse and reduced one enemy. You can muddy the waters and stall for time. Isn't that enough? Old Manly gave him a deep look and said telepathically, "You hid your strength? If you could kill a saint, you would at least have the strength of a saint. Can a saint hide it from the 9 saints? Unless you're a heavenly king. But if you're a heavenly king, you can't hide it from Li Chu. Subduing heavenly king has never said that you're strong. Now you're jumping out and trying to ambush me?" King Huai's expression changed. He said telepathically, "I don't mean that. What benefits would I gain from killing you? Killing you will only offend the human powerhouses. In this world, is there a need to distinguish between camps? Benefits are fundamental. Whoever can give this king more benefits, this king will naturally stand on that side. The 9 saints and the others are vainly trying to form their own side and rule the 3 realms. I just want to live longer, live better, and live more easily. What I need is strength and nothing else. True king realm. True king realm." King Huai did not deny it, but he quickly said with a smile, "Aren't you Li Changsheng also a true king realm? Isn't Fang Ping one? Are you qualified to compete with Fang Ping?" King Huai's expression did not change, but he cursed in his heart. He quickly said, "You don't have to worry about this, Li Changsheng. Be straightforward. Are you going to cooperate or not? Do you really want to wait for the beginner martial artists to invade Earth, slaughter your giant cities, and cause hundreds of millions of deaths and injuries before you come to your senses?" Old Man Li's eyes revealed a fierce glint. King Huai wanted him to enter the Forbidden Zone and kill the beginner martial artists. This was very dangerous. However, if what he said was true, and the beginner martial artists really wanted to enter Earth and kill the cat, even if they were repelled, it would be a big problem, unless the cat left Earth. But if he really did it, when Fang Ping and the others returned, Old Zhang and Fang Ping would not think that he had done nothing wrong by abandoning the cat because he wanted to protect humanity. The reason why the human race could reach this day was because they did not give up on anyone. The cat had helped humanity a lot. If they gave up on the cat now, they would give up on everyone the next day. "Can you and I kill the Mad Blade together?" "Yes, but accidents are everywhere. We have to finish this quickly and not give the 9 saints a chance to intervene. Not only that, the smaller the movement, the better. If the movement is too big, you and I will be exposed. If we kill the saint of the beginner martial artists, the beginner martial artists will not let us go easily." Killing a saint-slaughtering powerhouse and making a small movement without being discovered, this was shockingly difficult. Old Manly frowned. If he said that he was comparable to a saint, he had overestimated himself. In a head-on battle, he would definitely not be a saint's opponent. Moreover, this kind of saint-slaughtering saint. King Huai said again, "Don't worry, your sword. I saw it last time. It's very special, a little bit like a slash. Back then, you killed a rank 8 in 9 Southern Territory. I also know that these days, you've been building up your sword. As long as you slash at the critical moment, the beginner martial artist is unique. With this slash, as long as the opportunity is right, you can definitely kill the other party." Old Manly's tone was slightly cold. "You can entangle the other party and even suppress him? If he did not entangle the other party and suppress the other party, how could he slash this sword? Did he really think those powerhouses were blockheads that could be chopped at will? I'll do my best." Old Manly's pupils shrank again. "Do my best, do my best." He did not say it was impossible. What was King Huai hiding? What kind of ability did he have to dare to say this? He was at least a saint. How was that possible? At this moment, King Huai's expression suddenly changed slightly. He said quickly, "If you agree, go to 9 Northern Territory in 3 days. Mad Blade is there. I will meet you there. And the battle quickly and strive to kill the other party in an instant. You return to the human world. I will take everything I need. Why me? Because you have a grudge. You won't betray me, and I can also get everything I want. Isn't that enough? King Huai said it matter-of-factly. Who else could he look for if not humans? Look for the catacombs, 9 saints? If he looked for them now, the other party would probably think he was crazy. If he really agreed and killed the other party, he would probably not leave any benefits for King Huai. If the beginner martial artists came looking for him, they would most likely push him out. It was such a simple matter. At this moment, a saint's aura came. King Huai stopped the voice transmission and snorted coldly. Longevity sword, since you agreed, why did you lie and deceive me with fake sword aura? Old Manly said coldly, you're a mere king. Do you have the ability to distinguish between real and fake? After saying that, he looked into the void and said coldly, since you're here, why not show yourself? The next moment, Heavenly Sword appeared with a smile on his face. He chuckled. Longevity Sword, do you really want to exchange? He was also a swordsman. However, Longevity Sword's sword gave him a very special feeling. At this moment, Heavenly Sword waved his hand. In the void, 30 crystal veins that looked like small dragons lined up in a row. They did not look big, but they were compressed by him. He said with a smile, if you're willing to exchange a wisp of origin sword, aura, these are yours. Seeing this, Old Man Lee's eyes moved. In the next moment, with a low cry, his sword cut through the air. A figure appeared. The God Creation Envoy was stupefied and did not say a word. Only then did Old Man Lee shoot out a sword, aura. Heavenly Sword was caught in his hand. He said with a smile, why? I haven't reached the point where I would fall out with you for a few dozen veins. As soon as he said that, 30 small dragons flew towards Old Man Lee. Old Man Lee's longsword slashed out, destroying the aura around the small dragon before he made his move to capture it. At this time, these small dragons had all turned into a core vein that was 100 meters long. They were much larger than before. Old Man Lee did not know how to compress them either. His big hand directly grabbed them to his side. These veins floated in the air and formed a huge mine that was thousands of meters long. They were all high-ranked energy stones. In the air, the God Creation Envoy clone shook his head slightly when he saw this. This longevity sword, other than fighting, it had no other abilities. The old man did not say much and covered it with his big hand. In the next moment, this huge vein was compressed by him to only a few dozen meters long. All powerhouses knew how to store Mount Sumeru in a mustard seed. However, Old Man Lee really did not know how to. It was fine for him to kill people, but it was obviously impossible for him to do such a thing. Old Man Lee did not say anything. The God Creation Envoy smiled and disappeared without a trace in the next moment. On the other side, Heavenly Sword received the sword aura and sensed it. He laughed and left quickly. Before he left, he said with a smile, Huai Ing, you did well. After returning to the heavenly court, go and receive your reward. Thank you, sir. King Huai bowed, his face full of excitement. Old Man Lee glanced at him without batting an eyelid, but in his heart, he was guessing where this guy got the confidence to kill a saint. The God Creation Envoy did not see anything wrong with him. Obviously, his true God strength was probably real. If that was the case, where did King Huai's confidence come from? Killing Blade Frenzy, Old Man Lee fell into deep thought. At this moment, he had a headache. In the past, when Fong Ping and the others were here, he could just fight with his knife. He did not have to use his brain for a long time. Now that these people had run away, it was troublesome. That was not right. Wasn't Wu Quishan still here? This was the Snake King. He was known as MCMAU's most sinister and cunning old fox. Yes, I still have to discuss this with this old guy. Old man, Li was too lazy to think about it. He would discuss it with Wu Quishan later. At this moment, on Hua Qidao's side, Bei Gongyan let out a low shout and pierced Hua Qidao's throat with a spear. Hua Qidao grabbed the long spear with one hand, his face as dark as water. He waved the spear in his right hand and swept Jiang Yuanhua away. His golden bones broke, and half of his body exploded. At the same time, Su Haoran's sword came and cut off half of his head. Hua Qidao snorted coldly. His long spear was like a snake, instantly entangling the long sword. The spearhead was like a snake's head, suddenly pointing out. With a bang, Su Haoran's face exploded, and he flew back dozens of meters. At this moment, Hua Qidao's qi activity was getting stronger and stronger. Wu Quishan was ready to make a move. Opposite him, Guchuan was also extremely nervous. Kill them! Guchuan let out a low shout. Kill them, kill these rank 9s, and Hua Qidao's advancement should be stable. You want to kill us to prove your Dao. At this moment, Bei Gongyan also shouted angrily. Only the human race kills the enemy to prove their Dao. This time, it will not be the other way around. As soon as he finished speaking, the long spear wrapped around Hua Qidao, and the two were instantly entangled. Bei Gongyan held the spear in one hand and clenched his fist with the other. He punched out. Hua Qidao also punched back, and the sound of bangs rang incessantly. Both sides began to fight hand to hand. On Mount Yuhai, Wu Quishan watched for a while, his expression somewhat solemn. Bei Gongyan was not a match for them. This time, he had his own selfish motives. If Bei Gongyan and the others were harmed, how could he explain it to the human race? Now that Fang Ping had left and Zhang Tao was also not here, if something happened to the 3 rank 9s, he would not be able to explain it. If old Zhang were here today, the one to fight would be Su Yunfei. If Fang Ping were here, the one to fight would be himself. If it were him, the one to fight would be these 3 rank 9s. Hua Qidao had been improving rapidly recently. He should not have let these 3 become his whetstones. But 30 years, lying dormant for 30 years. What could he do? At this moment, the sound of a sword resonated. The next moment, Su Yunfei broke through the air. If you want to prove your Dao, ask me. Wu Quishan's expression changed, and he sighed in his heart. Su Yunfei was here. He came on his own. These people did not know the situation, but they knew that Hua Qidao wanted to prove his Dao. Naturally, they would try their best to stop him. If he spoke now, it would not be right. Good luck. Wu Quishan sighed. Opposite him, Guchuan's expression changed. He snorted coldly and attacked. Wu Quishan's longsword broke through the air. He said calmly, "Do you think it's your turn to interfere in the battle of rank 9? Bastard, fighting 4 against 1. Don't you always do this in the catacombs?" Wu Quishan was indifferent. "It's not the first time. Do you think it's inappropriate today? As the two of them spoke, Su Yunfei and Hua Qidao had already started fighting. At this moment, Bei Gongyan and the other 2 had not retreated. What martial arts spirit! It did not exist. Killing Hua Qidao was the most important thing. Didn't the catacombs always like to do this? At this time, a large number of rank 9 powerhouses in the catacombs were also ready to make a move. Hua Qidao shouted coldly, "Don't interfere. I will kill them today and prove my Dao as a true king. If I fail, I will die." You talk big. Both sides were in a mess. Energy exploded, sweeping across the west. Vaguely, a shadow had formed in the sky above Hua Qidao. The Dao appeared. He was going to prove his Dao. Although he was covered in injuries from Su Yunfei's attacks, Hua Qidao was still calm. Proving his Dao was a success. This happened 3 times. The shadow above Hua Chi Dao was becoming more and more solid. A Dao was faintly discernible. At this moment, Su Yunfei bellowed, "All of you, leave. I'll fight him." "Elder Su, I'm stronger than him. Earlier, he wasn't strong enough to force me to prove my Dao. Now, he's just right." Su Yunfei was also incomparably domineering. The Hua Chi Dao from before was not qualified enough for him to go all out in a battle. The current Hua Chi Dao was qualified enough. He had vaguely succeeded in proving his Dao, but he had yet to completely transform. At this time, Hua Chi Dao had exceeded the boundary of rank 9, but had not reached the pinnacle. And this was also his chance. He had been waiting for this moment. At this moment, Hua Chi Dao growled. Energy surged, and he swept his spear. The void exploded. The third heaven was showing signs of shattering. 600,000 calories was needed to break through the third heaven. Although he had not reached that point yet, he had exceeded the limit of 400,000 calories. Killing other rank 9 would be a piece of cake. However, Su Yunfei was not surprised. Instead, he was delighted. With a roar, his sword struck, proving the pinnacle, and inheriting the title of King of Swords. The elder ancestor of the Su family had died in battle. Previously, the Su family had said that they would reclaim the glory of King of Swords within half a year. Today was the day. Hua Chi Dao, who had achieved half a Dao, was just right. He, Su Yunfei, had accumulated for 300 years. His foundation was much stronger than Hua Chi Dao's. If he succeeded in proving his Dao, it would be hard to say who would kill who. Long before Fang Ping left, he had been showing signs of advancing, but he had always been a little short. Now the chance had come. At this moment, everyone saw a figure rapidly taking shape in the air. One wielded a spear, the other a sword. The next moment, Su Yunfei roared and struck with his sword again. Boom! The void exploded. Third heaven was broken. The moment the two exchanged blows, their combined power broke through the third heaven. Hua Chi Dao took a step back. Su Yunfei was unforgiving and struck with his sword again. Both of them had achieved half a Dao, but his combat strength was stronger than Hua Chi Dao's. Hua Chi Dao retreated step by step. Behind him, Gu Chuan roared and struck again. It was about time. After Hua Chi Dao's return, he had undergone a metamorphosis. It was about time. There was no need to continue fighting with Su Yunfei. Behind him, Wu Quishan heaved a sigh of relief. This might be the best outcome. Both of them had more or less achieved Dao. This was not bad. However, the show had to go on. Wu Quishan also rose into the air and charged toward Gu Chuan. He growled, "How dare you break the rules again and again? Do you have a death wish?" Gu Chuan was furious. Just as he was done, the sound of a sword rang in his ears. Uffed. His head was chopped off. From afar, Old Man Li said coldly, "This is a small lesson for you. Do you think it's the same as before? If you dare to interfere again, I'll kill you." The headless Gu Chuan struggled for a long time before his head slowly recovered. His face was pale. Sword Qi was still rampaging on his body, constantly blasting open wounds. "Longevity sword, if you dare to attack, why not?" Old Man Li took a step forward, long sword in hand. He said calmly, "If you don't believe me, you can try. If you attack again, I'll kill you with one slash." Gu Chuan's face was livid. At this time, another powerhouse appeared from behind. It was a gigantic whale. "Whale unicorn, you want to attack?" Old Man Li looked at the monster and said calmly, "The cat has been hungry lately. It needs a fish for its meal. Do you want to become food on its plate?" The gigantic whale said, "Longevity sword, the human powerhouses have all left. You're still so arrogant. Do you really think the 9 saints won't dare to attack? So what if I attack? Old Manly looked at it. Do you think the human powerhouses won't be able to return? As long as they're willing, they can do it with just a thought. If you dare to threaten me again, I'll kill you today. At most, we'll go to war with the catacombs. The humans aren't afraid. The whale monster was annoyed. It scoffed and said quickly, "Retreat." It had no intention of fighting the longevity sword. It was not worth it. However, it was at a disadvantage. The longevity sword had forced it to retreat. This was failure. However, now that it had come to this, did it really have to fight the longevity sword? Soon, the group of people from the catacombs retreated. Hua Qidao, who was still morphing, was no exception. He quickly retreated from this place. The humans did not chase after him. If they did, it was still unknown who would emerge victorious. There was no need. However, Su Yunfei had more or less achieved Dao today. He was just short of the final transformation. It was a joyous occasion. Wu Quishan congratulated him. The others followed suit. Old Man Li said a few words casually. Then he burst out laughing. If Fang Ping was here, Elder Su's Dao validation today would be a global celebration. It's a pity that Fang Ping isn't here. It's much more peaceful. Elder Su, you've been wronged. Wu Quishan smiled bitterly. We don't have this hobby. I can't say it even if you want me to. Why don't Elder Su roar a few times and say that you've achieved Dao? Su Yunfei's expression stiffened. He was speechless. You want me to roar myself? Forget it. I'd rather no one know. It's a little embarrassing. Everyone looked at each other. Old Manly said sadly, "It's all a bunch of old guys. Most of the young people have run away. If there were a few young people here today, it would be livelier." Qin Fengqing and Jiang Chao were both experts back then. They dared to roar for such a small matter. Everyone knows about it. When it's embarrassing, it's also a little hot-blooded. It's a pity. Old Man Li shook his head. It was a pity. He missed those guys a little now. Looking back at the direction King Huai left, Old Man Li pondered. Without further delay, he signaled Wu Quishan and left quickly. At this moment, King Huai, who had already escaped, seemed to be worried about being chased. He ran quickly, separating from Furchuan and the rest in the blink of an eye. He appeared in a deserted place. At this moment, King Huai suddenly burrowed into the ground and appeared in his source world. At this moment, if someone saw King Huai's source world, they would be shocked beyond words. The source world wasn't big, but there were passageways in every direction of the small source world. Not just one passageway. Counting carefully, there were no less than 30 passageways. These passageways all radiated forward. However, they were not long. The longest one was about 2,000 to 3,000 meters. At this moment, King Huai stood in a place without a passageway. His expression changed for a while. The next moment, at the edge of the darkness, a sword aura suddenly flashed and pierced through the void. A path appeared. It was not long, but very short. The newly opened path was not even 100 meters wide. King Huai did not care about this. He looked at this new path and fell into deep thought. After a while, he turned to look at the other great Daos and murmured, "I need a large amount of essence energy to build a passageway to connect these great Daos together. I need one or more divine artifacts to suppress the points of connection so that they can combine into one. Walk many paths." This was a cultivation method that became popular in the heavenly realm in the later stages. However, most people gave up after cultivating it because it was the wrong path. But King Huai did not. He had been working hard. Other people's two paths were two paths, but he had been inspired by Fate Monarch. He was ready to connect all the great paths and open up an unprecedented great path. He had not planned to take other people's great paths too far. 100 meters or so was enough. Therefore, he needed a lot of the origin energy of experts to analyze and explore. Now, he wanted to connect all these great paths. This is not the way to go. I have to get some origin energy from Li Changshen to help me connect my great paths, kill Frenzied Blade, and take his beginner martial divine weapon. The beginner martial divine weapon should be able to merge with the origin energy to stabilize my great paths that are not one. King Huai looked at his source world for a while and fell into deep thought again. Killing Frenzied Blade was not easy. However, this was the only way he could get everything he wanted. Perhaps he could even get a beginner martial body refining technique. It would be good to temper the strength of his body, lest his strength grew in the future and his body could not keep up. 39 great paths. Can a temporary unity match a sage? King Huai fell into deep thought again. Could it? It should be possible. Although these great paths were very short, they were the great paths of the current experts. Martial kings, heaven-subduing kings, longevity swords, nether kings, of course, they were all very short. He did not plan to go too long. He was not cut out for it, and he might not be able to compete with those experts. Why should he continue fighting? Martial kings returned to One Path and Fate Monarch's connecting path. Both inspired him greatly. He did not need to go too long. In the end, he just needed to merge them into his own great path. King Huai licked his lips lightly, feeling a little excited. After acting like a grandson for so many years, he hoped that this was the first time he went all out, and he would be satisfied. P.S. I'm recommending a new book, 9 Dragons Swallowing Pearl. It's a new novel. I'll add it to my collection. Thank you. You're tuning in to the Mystic Fist YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.